IGP training. Sir is actively engaged in technology initiatives and implementation of CCTNS in the state. Also, sir achieved high altitude and mountain climber. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Parvez, for the warm introduction. So good afternoon, all the senior officers and my colleagues from the police side and from the defense forces and also from the other CAPF and other organizations. So let's straight away start the post-noon sessions. The morning session, as we have seen, was quite exciting with a lot of activity from the participants. So we hope a similar session in the post and the post-lunch also to be equally active and exciting from your side. Now, we have already seen the sessions on artificial intelligence, the augmented reality, the XR and other things. We are now starting with the further things, including machine learning and big data. As we all understand, information is not useful unless we process it. The data otherwise becomes of no use. So we have a session on data analysis immediately following that. Now, let me first introduce you to the first speaker in this post-noon session, Shri Madhav Chablani. Mr. Chablani engages in consulting assignments, developing, managing, and advising global enterprise clients to succeed on IT governance, strategy, enterprise IT performance, risk management, compliance and sustainability, audits and assurance, strategic IT outsourcing, strategies and transformation in enterprises, and in fact, it's endless actually, governance and security. Mr. Chablani is passionate, innovative, being customer and people-focused, committed for value delivery and team building, with involvement of all stakeholders, a professional with over 30+ years of experience with proven success, and has worked in past with Big Four consulting firms as partner, advisory, such as Protiviti, HP Consulting, Ranbexy, which is now Sun Pharma, and NIIT Technologies. He's an alumnus of IIT Kanpur, having done the course on criminal justice data analysis using AI and machine learning. So I now invite Mr. Chablani to address the participants.
Thank you. I think it is an opportunity for me to be among you, and I'm basically from a consulting profession, but...
Can I just interject for a second?
Yeah.
I request the speakers to kindly stick to the timeline, because we have 5 speakers today in the post-noon session, so maybe half an hour to 35 minutes, you can try to wind up, please.
Okay, sir.
We can take up the deliberations later during the, after all the speakers are completed, so we can take ahead further at that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Besides being a consulting professional, I normally put myself to be a student. I'm a student always, and I have been into the industry consulting the enterprises and worked with the names who and who. But during the COVID period, I became very passionate, and I was passionate. I joined a course from IIT Kanpur in criminal justice data analysis, and it was with more than 100 IPS officers from your category, and we made a learning together during the entire COVID period, and we went through more than 20 odd subjects, but primarily it was focusing on artificial intelligence and machine learning for criminal justice. Before that, I have a very small stint and opportunity where in Delhi in 1994, there was a project on 100 number. So I worked with the organization in programming network loadable, novel loadable module for that, and in between I have not done any great experience on criminal justice or policing. Today my topic is how AI, ML, big data, which we are talking in day-to-day life, how it is being used in cybersecurity, in particular in for criminal justice and investigations. Now, there are preparations and there are guardrails, and it is becoming a game-changing approach in solving the problems of the cybersecurity which we are seeing in day-to-day life. And there are 6 disciplines which I will be talking about relevant to the cybersecurity, how it applies, solve the pressing security problems, and there are certain challenges which are very specific to the cybersecurity, which are data at a scale, which we'll be talking about, and the speed of the threat response, which is becoming challenging, and that is why we are focusing on artificial intelligence and machine learning. Machine learning techniques for security issues, there are general limitations and the risks of using AI for the security, and that we will be touching upon. There are ways. AI is not ultimate. AI can fail too. It is a double-edged sword. So the ways AI can fail, we will be discussing too. And steps for the organizational readiness, so whether it is for the enterprises or for your organizations, how you should prepare for it. And my presentation, I would like to look at giving the pragmatic approach for AI, to AI in cybersecurity. Now, when we are talking about artificial intelligence, the common thing which comes, what is the natural intelligence? All human beings, you and I, exhibit some form of intelligence. We can acquire the knowledge, store the knowledge, and then reason it based on that stored knowledge. We can take a clues from our environment, using our sensory organs such as eyes and ears, and finally our collective learning, we can make rational decisions even for the complex conflicting situation. And that is what we have been doing in traditional policing through our natural intelligence. A very simple definition of artificial intelligence, intelligence which is demonstrable by machines. Now, when we are approaching artificial intelligence to solve common industry and security problems, we usually refer to creation of intelligent agents. Now, what are these intelligent agents and how they can help? They do the sensing, they do the learning, and they do the acting part. So this is how the intelligent agent maximize the probability of completing the assigned goal. Now, going and looking into the example. This is AI-enabled floor mapper. Now, this is exactly doing sensing, learning, and acting. It is no doubt, it is an intelligent mapper, but it cannot fully replace the natural intelligence which is exhibited by the humans. Now, we come across the data breaches, and adversaries continue to pass the organization barrier and continues to expose the data. We are seeing another trend on digital transformation. This is becoming a common buzzword. And especially during the corona time, what we have seen, everything going electronically, your personal data, financial health records, social interactions, everyone is on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and various other gamuts of the thing. And it won't be surprising to say 90% of the world data is just created in last couple of years. We have all our data on which is digitized. It is getting migrated to the cloud. And when we are speaking about industrial control systems, the world of sensors and industrial devices that was once off the grid without the connectivity is being connected with the enterprise through Internet of Things. What is changing in that? It is basically giving a perfect storm which has resulted in massive explosion in the volume of the data. Organizations are now required to protect. And traditional approach that teams, security professionals applied earlier to protect their data are now under stress and catching up to meet the demand. And we are creating more bigger and bigger data. Now we have to basically identify the haystack from our big data. How artificial intelligence can assist you? Now this is a question. It enables you to create and leverage intelligent agents. Intelligent agents has been previously trained to solve a particular security problems. It can identify the weakness in millions of lines of code of software, identify the abnormalities in the user login, and even spot the malware signatures which doesn't even exist. Behind the scenes, intelligent agent sifts through the massive amounts of the data, learns from it to identify the patterns that are normal and expected. So how does the intelligent agent can help security professionals? So when we are talking about applying artificial intelligence to security, we have a stored data and a streaming data applied to the intelligent agents. It can give me the predictive insights, uncovering the data patterns, classifies and categorizes the data, and if it is advanced, then it gives me the recommendations and take corrective action on behalf of the security professionals to mitigate the risk. But that doesn't mean that you rip apart whatever is being currently there in your organizational security fabric and replace it with AI-powered tools. Your organization has already competent and expert security team. So you have a security team, you have a security policies and procedure, security tools. AI augments your current environment. Now, how it is doing it? AI works at prevention, AI works at detection and response. Prevention scans the code and components and do the threat modeling. Now that in the traditional area, basically it is the threat modeling is still done through the manual mechanisms, and there are a lot of researches which are happening and ways and mechanisms are being brought out in which AI can be used for threat modeling. Detection of the malware, network and endpoint intrusions, and user behavior detections. And this is what we have spoken in the morning. So response in the particular context, basically manage the security operations and undertake automatic mitigations. Now, these are the 6 disciplines of artificial intelligence, and they are required to pass a well-known tuning test proposed by the scientist Alan Turing, and the total tuning test by Stephen Arnold. Now, what it says that these capabilities or the disciplines, any system which is artificially intelligent has to have the ability to understand the natural language, has to have the ability to store and process the information, has to have the ability to reason, has to have the ability to learn from the new information, has to have the ability to see and perceive surrounding objects, and finally ability to manipulate and move physical objects. But these are 6 dimensions, but any artificial intelligence system need not have all these 6 dimensions to be called artificially intelligent. Not all the disciplines are required. For example, AI powered network intrusion system may not have an ability to see through, does not require it, or it does not have to manipulate the objects physically. Whereas if we have AI powered security surveillance robot watching the entrance, then we require ability to see. So artificially intelligent systems employed in the field of security some common capabilities that make them intelligent. So what are the minimum triads of artificial intelligence systems? They should store and process the large volumes of data, identify the patterns and the relationships, automatically learn from the new information, that is, adopt, and in actions, make recommendations or take actions. Now, among all the discipline of AI, the very important, which is very important and which is important from my today speaking session, is a discipline of learning, and it is the cornerstone. There are limitations in the programming because it is a rule-based. Now, we all who have experienced the structured programming is basically very traditional. We work with the known inputs. That is what programmers use them as inputs. They write custom code, generates the traditional software. Now this is a traditional programming, and we work with the boundaries which are known to us as the known inputs. Whereas in artificial intelligence, we do something very differently. We basically build the models. We train the large training, we build the models, train the models through the large training data, and generates AI powered software. So the paradigm of artificial intelligence is entirely different, that we work upon making the model through input data. AI powered malware detection, it is not possible. It is not pre-programmed with a list of virus signatures. Rather, data scientists train the malware detection system to identify program execution patterns that are not normal. Learning approach different from traditional structured programming approach. So, putting differently, the intelligence of the security scanner is bound by the ability to foresee the possible combinations and their ranges. Data science identifies training data, which could be the source code, log files, program executions, and data to machine learning models. Because of paucity of the time, I will not go much on the traditional foundation development, which is, we all know that security is based on CIA model, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What we do, in an enterprise or any surroundings, if we talk about security, then we are talking about defensive and offensive techniques. And we talk about the orchestrated framework. The orchestrated framework is on prevention, detection, and response. But the more important is the feedback. The feedback loop is a great opportunity for retraining your machine learning models with the new threat intelligence, newly discovered behavior patterns, and the attack vectors. Now here you need a multi-pronged approach. Training and education of the workforce are necessary measures. Investment in the secure design, secure automation, artificial intelligence can augment your security teams and improve their effectiveness and efficiency. So in the prevention, we talk about the culture of security, and any thing which we want to prevent in the security, it is multi-pronged from administrative, legal, technical, and other departments. So it's a shared responsibility, and training them, building the security policies, standards, and processes, hiring and screening, identifying and doing access management, secure development lifecycle. Detection, we have intrusion detection. Now, monitoring data, configuring, integrating, configuration of the configuration integrity, malware detection, social engineering attacks, SOC and SIM. In the feedback loop, we have alerts, meaningful context for the tries and decisions, containment, and spillover minimization. Now, when we are talking about security, why we need artificial intelligence, machine learning, what we are seeing from the traditional ecosystem, we were not playing with humongous data. The problem of scale was not there. Problem of knowing the context was not there. Problem of speed and problem of precision and accuracy was not there. So they became the characteristic or the decision points where we require artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, when the attacker is going to attack your organization, they go after the crown jewels, intellectual property. Assets of your organizations are protected and secure and depend upon some crucial information. Information is buried in petabytes of logs, networks, packets, files generated every second by almost every device, software on your corporate network. The amount of data is enormous, never ending, and has a complex interrelationships. But tools has the limitations, their programmatic rule-based approach does not scale to handle the massive amount of data being generated in the enterprises. We all are concerned with the external threats due to intrusion. If we have to protect it, we use intrusion detection systems. Intrusion detection system, IDS, can be network or a host base. They work upon the known malicious pattern in the packet flow or a binary code. Now, there is a limitations. The limitation is they work upon the known malicious pattern. When the malicious pattern is not known, what to do? Now, that is the question which comes. Now, if we have to solve this, we need to basically build a train predictor. Now, deploy the train predictor which examines the incoming logs of the traffic and the data continuously pass through the model, and deploy the model that if the new event is there which is not known malicious pattern, then it could be examined by the predictor. Now this becomes the AI enabled intrusion detection system. Okay. We all are concerned with the leakage of confidential information, and when we talk about leakage of confidential information, we think of protecting it through data loss prevention. It suspects the activity, it will block the transmission and notify the staff. DLP threshold too high, it will begin restricting even the genuine messages. And if the threshold is low, confidential data starts appearing in the personal folders. Okay? So, now this has got a limitations. We are working when we know the context. Anything is known has got a limitations. What if the context, it comes from the context which is not known to us? So we build AI powered DLPs, train them through protected words, unprotected words, and something called semantic relationships, and build the sensitivity results. So another problem which is on precision and accuracy. When we talk about high precision, we have a low accuracy, and we have a low precision, we have a high accuracy. Now, there are dangers in acting on the false alarm, waste the organizational resources, and distract the team from the real issues. And the most important is working on false negatives. So if the false negative error means failing to detect a fraud website, what if the attacker comes with a solution that is intelligent enough to analyze the website on so many different dimensions and categorize correctly? So here basically we have again phishing classifier. Now phishing classifier and the query handler can basically be trained to understand the URLs and suppose if we are going and we are getting any phishing mail and we have an embedded URL in that email, then by mistake we can run through it, and we can be prone to the phishing attacks. But if we are deploying a mechanism in which we are able to identify, that is from the known sources. But if it is from the unknown sources, because these are heuristic and they are always changing. So if we are going to make some classifier and make it learn from the known sources, then we can train them through the reputation in the form of incoming links from the certificate provider whose records are there. So reputation, network, and the content, and basically we can send the error messages if the particular website is malicious. So this is what the attackers are doing. They are acting fast. They are acting in the stealth mode, and they not only so to protect them, the security team, they always have to be right every time, but also must be acting very fast. So what the attackers are doing, they are taking the advantage of the noisy environment, becoming the patient, persistent, and act in the stealth mode. And do not expect to see a big bang after a security incident. Until after a security incident. AI does not directly improve the responsiveness after the security incident has occurred, but it prepares you to a step ahead of the adversary, giving you the ability to predict the future incident and act before it. The behavior and the events ongoing in your environment you can predict with the reasonable accuracy, and circumstances point to the impending attack. So you have to act fast. The attackers are acting fast in the stealth mode, and they are catching you. So speed with the predictive analysis, and that is what protects you to be one step ahead of the adversary by giving you the ability to predict the likelihood of future. Now there are authentications which are risky. Validated credentials do not guarantee that the person is logging whom you know he thinks he is. So predicting risky authentications through certain behavior characteristics. We build up predictive models. So there are risky login attempts and normal login attempts. Again, here we are able to do through the regression techniques, which I will be talking next. Sir, how much time is there?
Maybe just about 2 more minutes.
Okay.
2 to 3 minutes. Maybe.
So I think I have not started. So commonly interchanged terms are there on artificial intelligence, discipline of learning, machine learning, deep learning. So discipline of learning is one of the capability, and machine learning is a type of learning that uses the statistical techniques, model to perform the task without programming. The type of machine learning that uses layering many algorithms is a deep learning, and it mimics the way the neural networks in our brain. So choice of machine learning algorithms, the factors influencing selection of machine learning algorithms, there are type of training and type of problem. We have labeled data and unlabeled data, and when we have a labeled data, we do the supervised learning, and when we have unlabeled data, that we do unsupervised learning. And here, no prior knowledge about the relationship and the desired outcome, and that is where the security problems mostly stand. Predict the future from the past data, we use regressions and do the classifications by splitting the data into the known categories, discover the new patterns in the data through the clustering. And another problem is doing the generate the synthetic data, and this is being mostly in the talks nowadays. GPT 3.5 has a chat GPT. So this is one of the generated. This is a very good diagram which basically gives the supervised learning. It predicts the future events from the past data and split data into new categories and unsupervised learning. It's a very good diagram. I just escaped because of paucity of the time. Now this is a class synthetic data uses in cracking the password, first testing, vulnerability testing, stenographies, and various algorithms. Now deepfakes are using the GAN and this is from a site. This person does not exist. Now normally you go to certain web pages which are generated through, and moment you refresh it, it gives you the new image. So the algorithms basically are you tend to believe in certain websites, but actually they are generated artificial. These persons are not real identities. They are all generated images. Sir, can I get 5 minutes?
Okay. Try to wind up.
Or can I put it to the moderation?
No, you can finish off now. Take your time. Take 2-3 more minutes and try to
So
finish.
having AI is not a silver bullet, but it's a dual-edged sword. If not handled carefully, AI can be the reason to get compromised. There are 3 ways AI can get impacted: the limitations and the poor implementations of AI, attacks against your implementation of AI, and use of AI by the attackers. Machine learning has inherent limitations. It is a probabilistic. It does not have any domain knowledge. It lacks on the explainability. And this is since it is a probabilistic, it adds to the constraints of the algorithms. There are degrees of errors in the algorithms, which we call modeling error, the bias variances, and autocorrelations. So there are false positives and false negatives which gets generated in the process. There are dependencies. There are large volumes of the training data. Now, when we are talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is a double-edged sword. We get a new attack surface, and your AI can itself be the vulnerable to the attacks. And there are new ways of exploitation that also you need to think it over. And a new breed of attack against the machine learning algorithms and models. And if we are able to put malicious data in the training or in production, then we can have the inference attacks during the model training or during the production. And this can these attacks surely make a system vulnerable. And forms of attacks on the integrity, they are terrestrial and mutated inputs during the testing and productions, and one can have a data poisoning attack at the training. attacks with the audio and video manipulations with synthetic data, the GAN, which I have talked about, is also possible. Now, these are the 6 guiding principles for AI, that we have to have a data readiness for any organization adopting artificial intelligence or machine learning within their systems to augment traditional approaches. Then they have to have a data readiness, because with the data we are training the algorithms, and if we do not have the data, right data, sanitized data, then we cannot train the algorithms properly. We should be open to the experimentations. We should have a core competencies. If we do not have, then we need to build competencies within the system. And everything is possible when we do the measurements. We have to have a feedback loop, and education is important, and we should be in the continuous process of education. And to plan for the data readiness, data lives in silos, and there are many custodians. And even in policing, the police in itself is not responsible for all the criminal justice data. It is available at many places, in many silos, and there are many different associations and agencies which have been data on which policing is dependent, and data can be messy, inconsistent, and inaccurate, so we need to do the sanitizations. Take the data inventory, access to the data by models during the training and deployment. Plan for data readiness. Sorry, the slide is slightly faded. And data lives in silos with many custodians. Data can be messy, inconsistent, inaccurate, and yeah, this is what. Embrace the experimentation, because every time we try it, we cannot be successful. Even the first time we may not be successful, but you may you have to embrace on the experimentation. You may not get the right first time. There is no plug and play or a turnkey solutions. Normally, we tend to acquire a AI enabled system from the vendor, but this is not the best approach to do it. You have to have your own data. You have to have training of those models with your own data, and pick one and use and demonstrate values. Assess your core competencies. Evaluate your skills, resources, and willingness. Choose to go forward either a hybrid, buy and build. Plan to measure, no guarantee AI will perform better. Develop and implement a measurement framework. Report ROI on AI investments, and showcase improvement over the status quo. Have a feedback loops. New threats, they are emerging, and new threats because of AI and ML is emerged. Models makes mistakes, and feedback model performance data back into the model relearning. Plan for education and awareness. Educate the security teams, make them excited about the outcomes. Explain to your staff how AI approach can help them to grow and to be more effective.
Mr. Chablani, can we wind up,
Yeah,
please?
this is the last slide, and this is the dimensions on the capability evaluations, and we have model training, product integration. So if we are bringing any out-of-the-box solution, and we have AI inside it is written, so we must look in the capability to evaluate the capabilities. These are the 6 pointers which I put it to you, which is we lay a thrust to model training, product integration, proof of concept, naive or bought-on AI, and security and privacy of the data. Yeah, I end because of paucity. I think this is a whole class which I could have taken, and AI at the continuum of a security, we need to strengthen through a feedback loop. Thank you. I keep it to the questions at the moderation because of paucity of the time. Yes, sir. At your disposal. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sufyan. That was, I can totally understand it's quite a challenge to take up a session post-lunch. So, Mr. Chablani has touched upon the academic part of artificial intelligence and largely covering the usage of artificial intelligence through sensing, learning, and acting, and also the massive explosion of data, which is largely because of the cloud storage, because of the big data, because of the IoT, and because of digitization of a lot of personal information. And he has also focused upon the usage of artificial intelligence in orchestrated framework in the form of prevention, detection, and response through predictive insights, actionable recommendations, and autonomous mitigation. So we'll take up the Q&A session at the end. Now let me give a brief intro for the next speaker, Professor Dr. Mohammad Sufyan Badr. Professor Badr has served as a teaching faculty in the Department of Bioengineering at the University of California, US. He served as an analytics architect in CenturyLink for over a year in Denver. Currently, he is a director at Salfia Paramedical Institute, Darbhanga, India. He possesses an excellent academic record with an MS degree in molecular science and nanotechnology and PhD in engineering from Louisiana Tech University, Ruston, USA. Before joining the PhD program at Louisiana, he graduated with an MSc in bioinformatics from Jamia Millia Islamia, Delhi. Dr. Sufyan has over 14 years of teaching, research, and industry experience. He has published his research in conferences and highly reputed international journals. He has authored many chapters in the area of artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain. Currently, he is editing 3 books, and there are 3 books. I don't want to read the titles right now. He has developed an algorithm for face detection, recognition, and emotion recognition. He is currently in the process of developing a device that, using biosensors, can correlate the physiology of the human body with the emotion recognition algorithm, giving us precise measure of the amount of stress hormones in the body. So I now invite Professor Badr to come and deliver his address.
This one. Good afternoon. So, it is my privilege to get an invitation to deliver a lecture on innovation technology, especially for law enforcement agencies. So for me, academic scenario, we already see this type of lecture or conference, but for law enforcement, for me it is very, very surprising, and I'm really thankful to director or all the staff member of CFT Bhopal that you already initiated, and this is first conference, and it shows in first session I see that this is not kind of introduction, rather the way you ask the question, it shows that how much you have wanted to implement. That is very encouraging. Yeah? That is why the questions were very practical questions you were asking in the first session. I was surprised that this is not only introduction, rather than you wanted to implement in your own system. So it shows that how much we are developed and how much we are concerned for this one. So and then to deliver a lecture, this type of opportunity, it is for me, it is kind of a special privilege. So, though chief guest is not here, but everything is virtual, so virtually he is present. and director and all the staff member of CFT Bhopal, then all the officers in different rank, different position, and all my colleagues. Just I would like to give lecture. My topic is, already you see, that not only my topic, just to see synthesis also. So phase, gate recognition, analysis and synthesis. So not only introduction, not only to understand to knowledge, rather how you are going to implement that one. This is also in my topic. Generally what happened then, emerging technologies, that where any technology in any field, especially for law enforcement agencies, that first you have to know exactly what technology is, then how you are going to use it, and then finally, this is the main constant, that it is easy to access it, it is easy to implement it, it is easy to use it at very low level, means rural areas also. So that aspect my topic will be, yeah, it is possible, it is accessible, we can do, we can implement. Generally, whenever technology comes, when I was in high school and college, we always see that a million, 100,000 like that. But right now the things is completely changed, completely transformed. It is as like it is possible. Even we can access at rural level and see many technology right now, even in India I see. So for that aspect, to research, already Dr. Joshi already mentioned, my one research is emotion recognition. So again it is, we see, especially for law enforcement agency, that you people work at 24/7. Even it is very difficult if somebody doesn't know you people. 24/7, especially if something happens. In that condition, how much depression, how much anxiety, how much, because of course you are human being, you have family, you have kids, you have social interaction, but you don't have time because of this nature of your job. In that condition, we already designed we designed a model by using machine learning, by which we can identify your emotions into 5 or 6 different categories. For example, normal, excited, depressed, anxiety, 5 different levels. And again, as I told you in the initially, that it is not as like you have to spend 100,000, not like that. It is very simple one camera, and by using Wi-Fi, even inside classroom, this maybe 60, 70 people, we can categorize that you are normal, you are okay, you are depressed. Because if we know at initial level that you are not normal, and here normal means, or depressed means not as like 1 day or 2 days. If we take your data, for example, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then only this my model will say that you are not normal, you are depressed, or you are anxiety. In that, this is very cheap, just simply one small camera, and by Wi-Fi you can access at your home or anywhere. And I think, especially for you people, for law enforcement agency, it is very much needed. When I see some news, something happened because of, this depression, maybe especially for nature of job you have, you don't have, Saturday and Sunday like that we do. So in that condition, this emotion recognition, what we made it is very simple, and you will be surprised to know that accuracy is more than 80-85%. So based on, again, this is not 1 day or 2 days, maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and definitely if I take your data for 3-4 weeks, system knows, no? And if 3 or 4 weeks you are not well, then only model will say that you are not okay, you are depressed or anxiety or depression like that. I think it is very much needed to implement that one. Another, again, related to your welfare, because in the first session I saw that you people, go on the site, if something happens without seeing the consequences, and sometimes it happened, we came to know some news. So in that condition, again we made a very simple watch. I will show you, very simple, and I use just simply four biosensor. Very simple. It is again not innovation. Just how you are going to use that one. No? Sometime when you add 2 or 3 things with a specific purpose, maybe something which is very relevant to the society. So this is very simple. 4 biosensor we use it. One for temperature, very common. One for gyroscope. One for oximeter, which is basically oxygen concentration in blood. And one for ECG or heart rate. And during COVID, basically some biosensor I bought it from China, and it gone to for different Hong Kong, Taiwan. So it was a little bit costly, but it is less than $100. Less than $100, and if we make it or manufacture in commercial way, I don't think it will be more than 500 or 1,000. Even somebody offered me that just to go ahead, and if you need, just I will help you. So in this 4 biosensor we used it, and we are getting the data of all biosensors separately. Now we are on this stage, we are now going to club all the data, then we are going to make one scale. A scale, for example, for normal people is 70 to 9, and if your is 120, then my device can say that, hey, you are not normal. And again, this cumulative, the scale will be as like, for example, you have 100 degree in Fahrenheit. You are not going to ask from doctor, whether I have fever or not. Rather, you are going to ask doctor just to give me medicine, because you are very sure that I have fever. Same this when my objective is, when we make it, then simply just, this is as like watch, you wear it, and then maybe for 3-4 weeks, by watch is directly connected to family physician or family member. For example, you and maybe your wife, yeah. So by that way, this watch will say, hey, you are not normal, you are depressed, you have anxiety, like that. This is again very simple in terms of very easy to get it without costly. And if you see the social the application of this is too much, especially for you people. When you work, you didn't sleep well, you know that I am very tired, but even though you are working, even though you are going there, by that way, by this system, if you know that I am not well because of this system, then at least initial level, if your wife or if your boss, if your supervisor say that, oh, just to take some rest, then how much we are going to save the life of our law enforcement agency, especially for you people. Always you go without seeing the time and the duration and day, nothing you didn't see. Immediately you go on the spot and you try to solve whatever the problem we have. So based on that, these two, one is emotion recognition, this algorithm, another this watch. I am at this stage that we already made it, we are getting the data, but right now I am trying to club all the data, then one scale I have to make it. That is already in process. So for that, when I get in this invitation, then I think this is the best, I can introduce this one to the law enforcement agency, officers of law enforcement agency, so that in future they can implement it. Very easy, very cheap, you see. Just you have to, intentionally I made it as like watch. So, it is not as like, what you are wearing, Simply, it will again, I am going to reduce it a little bit more, because when I was making that time, it was, I don't know, was a little bit, bigger, but I already have this a small one. So exactly this is as like watch. Especially those who are in more than 40 and 50, and those who are little bit extra stress they have because of this job, definitely he or she can wear this one. So these two things which is very close to. Now come to the topic. Again, you already gone through the machine learning, artificial intelligence. Basically, we have made this model by using machine learning, artificial intelligence itself. So basically, what is machine learning? You know very well, especially in first session. I see that too much talk, for all the technology, especially the virtual technology he already mentioned. Even we already maybe 10 or 20 years before. What is going to be happen, he already shown on the screen itself. So again, we are going to use this artificial intelligence and machine learning. So basically, when we see that this face recognition analysis, it is because we already made it face, not only face, even emotion recognition, but new one is gait recognition. So in face recognition, generally if any crime happens, or the term bad guy or maybe abnormal people, they also have this technology. They also do research. They have separate team for this type of things. But as a law enforcement, as a normal people, generally what happens in face, they change the face, by artificial means, and sometimes our accuracy is low because of that one. And if we act on that, maybe we are not getting the right point. No? So in that context, if we go for gait recognition, then unbelievable. We will be at this stage, you see that when we walk it like that or we jump it like that, it is as like at this stage, when first time I gone through, I didn't feel that it is very much different. But when we see the technology, how it is fast, that it is very difficult to change the distance between two steps, it is very difficult. But you can change your face, you can change your, maybe hair, maybe nose, but this difference is very much difficult to change it. Based on that, if you are going to predict something, if you are going to model something, then accuracy will be very more, and especially this is very useful for law enforcement agency. Just after that, intentionally I changed the slide, because of time constraint, so you will get only the contents. So one by one I am going through the contents. So the growing threat of cyber crime has led to the development of new technology that can help in the investigation of these crimes. So because of the way they see the crime, the nature of crime, maybe 10 years, 20 years before, even we didn't see this type of news, even for a crime. But you see how much these people are smart. To combat that one, definitely we need more. No? That is why the CAPT or law enforcement agency, they already organize this type of conference, so that our people can know, can understand, so that he can use this technology in his own field. So face recognition technology involves the use of computer algorithm and software, again very simple, to analyze and identify facial features. For example, this eye, nose, difference between two eyes, based on that they are going to predict it, and accuracy is very good, more than 80%. But I already mentioned you, sometimes, or not sometimes, mostly, the bad guy or the abnormal people, they know technology, or they know how to twist it, how to change it. In that condition, maybe your accuracy will be low, and if our investigation agency, they act on it, then maybe they are not getting the right target. So again, this algorithm use machine learning techniques. I already told you that, for example, eyes, the distance between two eyes, then nose, this type of thing, they measure it, and by using machine learning, they make a model, then identify. The technology has been widely used in law enforcement to identify suspects in criminal investigations, but it has also been criticized for its potential for misuse and infringement of privacy rights. So of course, if any technology, any machine, wisely you have to use it, we know very well. So this is gait recognition technology. Is a relatively new technology that involves the use of computer algorithm and software to analyze a person's walking pattern. So walking pattern is very much important, because it is very difficult to change it. This is very difficult to change it if you compare with face. So gait recognition can be used to identify individuals trying to conceal their identity by changing their appearance, as it is difficult to change one's walking pattern. As I told you, it is difficult to change that one, especially we are not taking the walking pattern of maybe one moment or like that. No, if we suspect, if we know, if we have to do some in investigation, if we already suspect any guy X or Y or Z, then definitely one day he can change it, but regularly he can't change the walking, style, jumping and walking, especially difference between two steps. So based on that, this technology are working, and based on that, they are making the model, which accuracy is very high, and this is relatively new technology. So in that phase and this gate technology, this is the outline of overview of biometrics, then gate recognition. In the gate recognition, 2 or 3 technologies I am going to use it little bit detail, which is very common. Again, this is not a costly one, this is very cheap one, and very easily we can implement it, very easily. It is available everywhere, it is cheap, and we can access even in remote area also. This is topic of my, this forced me to have a lecture on this one, so that I can say that this is very much needed and it is available. We can buy it. The growing threat of cybercrime has led to the development of new technology that can help in the investigation of these crimes. Among these technologies are, the face recognition technology involved the use of computer algorithms and software to analyze and identify facial features from images and video footages. So in biometrics, see, the bio comes from the Greek words, which is life, and metric means dimension. So basically in biometrics, we measure here also we measure the difference between 2 eyes, and here walking also we measure the difference between 2 steps. So biometrics are used for identification and verification. Identification again, who a person is, and verification whether the law enforcement agency, if they caught it, then whatever you are observing, that he will be, whether he is or not. So this is verification. There are 2 types of biometrics, again behavioral and physical. Behavioral is voice recognition, keystroke, gait recognition, and signature. So behavioral is also very much important. Generally, since I am not from this field, so we before that we are not thinking that how much behavioral is important even even for law enforcement agencies, how much it is beneficial. For physical is very common, fingerprint, retina, hand and face. We already see this one, and we many technologies right now we have. You people are law enforcement, they are using. But behavioral, how much it is important? For me, when I gone first time, then I see that behavioral is also very much important to identify, especially if something going on as a law enforcement agency. When you go somewhere, the very high responsibility you have, very big responsibility you carry on when you go somewhere to check, to find out, to act. So gait recognition is recognizing people based on the way they walk. The interest in gait as a biometric is strongly motivated by the need for an automated recognition system for visual surveillance and monitoring application. So I am going to explain 2 or 3 under gait recognition, which is very simple one again, but which is very important for law enforcement agency. First one is again machine vision, and second is wearable sensor. Again, is the very cheap one, and it is very easily available. Sometimes what I feel that if something is cheap, then you didn't take care, you didn't give much importance because it is very cheap. But if you attend this type of conference, then you know that this is cheap, but because of this application, you are going to use it. The second one is wearable sensor, and third one is floor sensor. I am going to explain it one by one, little bit detail. So machine vision, gait captured using video camera from distance, and video image processing techniques are employed to extract gait features for recognition purposes. The good thing for this machine vision is you don't have to take permission from anybody, even you don't know. you have gone somewhere, you are going somewhere, and everything is captured by machine vision, no? And there is algorithm. So whatever they captured from your video, from your walking, they are already capturing, and then based on that, they are using machine learning algorithm, and then based on that, they are going to predict, or they are going to identify, Based on that, you are going to act. So image of a person represented as a solid shape of a single color, usually black, its edges matching the outline of the subject. So again, this is a very simple one, but you didn't give much importance, but it is, see, the shape of the one is complete image, one is, the shape. Because for you people, a difficult task is, you don't know anything, and then you are going to take action. In that condition, you need technology so that you can identify, and first you have to identify or predict, and then you have to act on this one. So accuracy is very much needed for you people. You are going to take action based on that. So again, advantage of machine vision, I already told you that you don't have to take prior information, prior consent, and again, since this is Wi-Fi technology is used, so remotely you can access it. So this is very good positive point. Remotely you can access it, and you don't have to take permission. No, even people doesn't know what is going on, and you are predicting or you are acting based on that. So this is two things. It is very useful, very helpful for you people to act. Again, the surveillance forensic example, see, sometime I told technology we have, but we didn't give much importance. In Denmark, very big bank robbery, and the law enforcement agency and then court finally caught by using this method only. So in Denmark, not judge also. So court, law enforcement agency as well as court finally caught the thief who has stolen by using this method long before. So what I am trying to say, the technology we have, but we didn't give much importance. But when you go through this type of conference, and if it is available, at least we can, for example, in first session I see that you can make a proposal to the concerned ministry that it is very much needed for this one, and it is not very much costly, by attending this type of conference to show that it is how much importance in your own field when you act something. So in Denmark, it already happened, and already in the morning session, many things I see in US that we can do, we can implement it, but we didn't give much importance. No, very small things, because not all criminals are very much smart. No, small. For example, in Paytm, I see very common when you go right now any chowki or any police station, somebody took money from. No, so this is not a very big deal. No. If simple things, if we know, or our law enforcement agency know and can act, then very easily we can check this one. Not is a very big, challenging task. Again, this floor sensor, one is machine vision, second is floor sensor. So basically, we already put sensor under the carpet, and then sensor measures the pressure and force. By measuring pressure and force, and then using when a criminal or bad guy they walk, by measuring this pressure and force, exactly we can identify who a person is. No, and already in the morning session I saw one sentence. I heard one sentence. Right now, technology is, for example, this building, and in this building, so this conference where it is, exactly we can find out, with high accuracy. So again, this is not very new innovation, but to use that system in our own work culture, in our own, when you act, this is very much needed, and I wanted to emphasize that one. Okay, it is easily available, and you can use, you need this one. So in floor sensor also, very easily, if somebody even knows that if he's a bad guy, then surely he will be smart. But if we put the sensor, then if he is staying in that room, by using pressure and force, by easily we can predict the person, identify the person who is. So again, third one is wearable sensor. Again, I already seen in watch, I already use it. This wearable sensor, this is again very, this is not very costly. I don't think in Indian, maybe 500 or 1,000 rupees, not more than that. Very easily, very small as like band, and by using that band, your data is coming, by sensor basically giving the data. Now only job is to collect the data, and then by using machine learning, artificial intelligence, exactly you can collect the data, process the data, and then very easily you can predict who he is by using this wearable sensor. Again, not more than $1,000, very very cheap one. Easily we can buy it and we can use it. For example, if we need this one. So the floor sensor we can use in front of doors or in building, and complete information we can get it, all the data we are getting from sensors, then we are collecting it. By using machine learning, we can very easily identify and predict based on that one. And the term unobtrusive data collection, as I told you, that you don't need to get permission, you don't need to do anything, by default just to install it, and by getting data we can identify and predict the person who is. Again, motion recording sensor, this sensor, all I already mentioned you, is very cheap one, very easily available. This is not a rocket science. The only thing we have to use it. Especially for you people, law enforcement agency, you people, you need this one, because what I feel at this stage is that all the crimes or all this happen not in very big high profile. Some are maybe 50% are very simple one. So at least 50% we can crack it easily by using this technology. So that for you people, little bit, not too much pressure, if you use this type of technology. Again, recording sensor, this is also very simple one. By again recording, basically sensor is giving data. Now simply collect the data, and by using machine learning, artificial intelligence, the model will say you exactly to whom you are looking for. Again, in the initial I told you that for technology, when we talk technology as a from remote area, this is mumkin nahi hai ye. But right now, even big company knows that it should be low cost, it should be easily available, it should be user friendly. Even big company knows that these 3 or 4 is basic requirement to develop any technology. And right now, when we see the blockchain or IoT or this 2 device I mentioned you, it's very cheap one. It's very cheap one, and it is very easily you and me can use it. Even rural area right now, even 5G already launched. So even rural area right now we have this internet facility, even rural area right now. So by using this technology, we can, especially for you law enforcement agency, for you people, little bit, 50% at least your work pressure will be low if we use this type of technology. Again, all the technology what I use, in mobile, this machine vision or this the wearable, these all are, this we can install in our mobile. For example, what I developing this device, there's also we are going to make an app. By that app, this whatever the data we are getting, we are going to connect in our phone itself, so that exactly that what type of situation you are going through. We are also working on that one. So this gate signature creation, so fifth point, every time person walks, they represent similar set of numbers which can be used for recognition. So it is very easy when somebody, for example, goes from here to there, then the number of steps will be, if he doesn't have any constraint, the number of steps will be constant, almost constant. If he doesn't have any constraint, no. So these are very small thing when I first time I going through, but for you people is a very big thing, no, when you are going to, because what I understand at this stage, that you people are acting not based on one information, maybe a 2 or 3, then you are matching with them, then finally you are going to take action based on these 2 or 3. So comparison method of gate recognition, again performance, I already told you that if you compare with face, accuracy is very good in gate recognition. And in machine vision based, we need static body parameters like height and distance between head and limbs. No? So in machine vision also, I told you that when we get the data, basically our one thing is complete image. One thing, what is the difference between this and this? What is the difference between this and this? These type of things is very constant. We can't change it. Any criminal or any bad guy, they can't change it. This. So basically, we are considering these type of things. So because of that, very good accuracy we are getting. Challenges of gate recognition, again, again, not very good, very simple one. We can easily overcome this one. Challenges to recognition. Of course, sometimes technology means, as I already, my senior already told you, that technology also, when machine learning, artificial intelligence, sometimes, you have to use your own brain when you are using this technology, So then, so human intelligence is, always you have to use, whenever the model says something after machine learning, artificial intelligence, you have to also sense, in many in general application. For example, you are using GPS. You see at one time you have to see, this is right route. No, sometimes system will say, okay, you have to go airport, so it will take if you go through that one, then it takes 40 minutes. But if you go by that one, then 35 minutes. But you know that some construction work is going on. Maybe recently, maybe yesterday started, and Google doesn't know that yesterday started, maybe. So in that condition, you have to use your own mind when you are dependent on technology. Again, this lighting condition, sometimes, because of weather maybe, light is not sufficient when you are using any technology. Again, this is not a big challenge. So combining gate with other biometrics, so this is multi-modal biometric system in which we are using this, not one system rather than more than one. And always when we see that when technology emerges, always we see the new version, new technology always is improved one. So here, when we combine two model, which is called multi-modal biometric system, then very good accuracy we are getting. Gate helps in improving the accuracy of the system when it is integrated with other biometrics. So right now we are mixing 2 or 3, and then finally the result is overwhelming. Very good accuracy we are getting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sufyan Badr. So, Mr. Badr has spoken in detail about the gate recognition technology. Now, most of us have been working on this facial recognition technology, despite the issues such as privacy and other things. But this gate recognition technology, I think most of us have not used, and as he has explained, it is relatively cheaper, and with some combination with other biometrics, it can be more accurate also. It can be used for security, surveillance, and other things. And he has also touched upon the different types of gate analysis, the different types of equipments which can be used, which can be machine vision based, which can be wearable sensors, or which can be floor based sensors. So thank you, Mr. Sufyan. So I think like the previous session, we'll take the Q&A in the end. And shall I give the tea break? So we'll take a short tea break for about 15 minutes. It's right now 4:25. So I request all the participants to kindly return by 4:40 so that we can move ahead with the next session. Thank you. But that was good. And I'm happy that you're developing something for this anxiety, stress and all that. So
By myself,
next
without
is
any-
yours.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, we have not used it. We are not using it actually. Products. He has extensively worked in the area of digital architecture and cyber security of critical energy infrastructure. Dr. Kazi has contributed in developing resilience framework for smart grid and other smart city verticals. ICS CERT and OEMs have released around 30 CVEs and worldwide advisories based on vulnerabilities identified by his research team. He has published more than 100 research papers in IEEE journals and conferences in the domain of smart grid, cyber physical systems, and critical infrastructure. He has worked as visiting research scholar at Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, EPFL Switzerland, MIT USA, and Tufts University USA. He has also developed research test bed for cyber security of critical energy infrastructure with in-kind support from industries like Siemens, Emerson, L&T, Schneider Electrical, Claroty, and Cisco. The topic taken up by Dr. Farooq Kazi would be manifestation, cyber warfare, manifestation in critical infrastructure and information warfare. So I now invite Dr. Kazi to kindly deliver his address.
Yeah, good afternoon, and my name is Farooq Kazi. I'll be speaking on something very exciting, particularly after tea break, that is cyber warfare and how it gets manifested in terms of critical infrastructure and information warfare. So I'd like to thank the organizers for letting me allow the work that we are doing in this particular space for last couple of years. Couple of caveats before I start delivering my session. First one is, although I am from academia, this presentation is by no way academic presentation. So do not expect any equations, mathematical derivations, or huge text as such. Most of the things are in the graphical manner. Caveat number 2 is, generally the caveat comes saying that is katha mein sare patra kalpanik hain, etc., etc. The caveat here is, whatever we are going to discuss, all those things are realistic. Although for some initial minutes of this session, you might feel that I'm talking about some Hollywood script or some James Bond movie where some nation state actors like Russia or USA or Ukraine and other countries are fighting each other with this cyber warfare. I would be talking about 3 main incidences for which we were part of the investigation and the research. One was the recent Mumbai incident which happened where the electrical infrastructure of Mumbai was brought down, and a lot of media coverage was received by this incident of 12th October 2020. We would be discussing the manifestation of those kind of things in the near future. Number 2, we are seeing a lot of nation state involvement in terms of perception and narrative building by using social media. So we are well aware about couple of campaigns which happened in last 5-6 years or so, starting with CA, NRC, and lot of other. Couple of those were organically built, but couple of those were in fact steered by having some kind of motivation. So that is my second part in my presentation about how the manipulation of social media happens in terms of information warfare. And the third one that I would be talking about is about AI-based deepfake detection and creation. All these three things are happening currently in our lab. So I would be very keen on taking the question after the session beyond the time period as well. Just to give you the idea about the motivation, which is anyway there on the slides and you must have gone through. Traditionally, wars were fought on borders and the armies were involved in fighting this war. However, cyber war is a borderless war. And not necessarily only armies will be involved, but we would also be having a lot of challenges for law enforcement agencies as well with the involvement of nation-state actors. One interesting aspect of this cyber warfare is the war need not be launched by our immediate neighbor because there are no borders, and you may always be finding a lot of threat actors coming in from the countries which are the usual culprits. Like we had seen some kind of news coming up for cyber attack which was reported for Kudankulam nuclear power plant, where the attribution was given to some North Korean threat actors. So it's very, very, very challenging and interesting scenario. And next couple of years, law enforcement agencies will be finding this much more challenging. So considering the title of this national conference, that we are looking for emerging challenges, opportunities, and the way in which we can be making capacity building of our law enforcement agencies, hopefully the session that I'm going to deliver next will be helping at least to understand the problem at hand, and then together can be worked out for the solution as well. So there are two factors which are involved. So cyber warfare basically is having two elements. One is called as kinetic and another one is called as non-kinetic. Kinetic means you would be having some physical damage happening because of that. So earlier people used to use cyber warfare as a force multiplier. That was not a front runner as such. It is called as non-kinetic warfare, or typically called as asymmetric warfare. Now till that time everything was fine. Last decade or so, we have seen that cyber warfare has also manifested in a kinetic warfare as well. That is why my topic is having two directions. One is cyber attacks which are happening on critical infrastructure, which includes energy, water, wastewater, oil and gas, refineries, transportation. And these are across the border. So of course, we cannot leave it just for our armed forces to fight, but then law enforcement agencies also need to look into this very seriously. Particularly when the Mumbai grid incident happened 2 years back, although police or law enforcement agency is traditionally well equipped with respect to digital forensic and incident response, the complete playbook is ready. The way in which chain of custody and other things are carried out, everything is very well known for the traditional type of cyber attacks. However, for such kind of cyber attacks, there is no knowledge base currently available, not just in India, but outside as well. The reason is, we get to know that this was cyber attack only after a couple of months, because this kind of infrastructure may occasionally have failures because of the system failure itself. So understanding that this was a cyber attack in itself is a question. Now leave aside the forensic and other kind of usual legal processes. So we are today going to discuss about those challenges and those kind of cyber attacks, which maybe in the next decade or so will be creating a lot of challenges for the law enforcement agency. So this is the motivation by which we would be going ahead. But before I can start, let me take 2 minutes, and I would be keeping time very much precise so to ensure. So there are 2 minutes I'll be taking to introduce to you about what we do. The reason is, If you find something of overlapping interest, probably then we can go ahead and we can collaborate. We are anyway collaborating with a lot of law enforcement agency, and one of the social media analytics part and the deepfake detection that I'll be talking about is actually being presented for BPR&D support as well. So the work is actually in tandem, hand in hand with the law enforcement agency. So I belong to the institute called as VJTI that is located in Mumbai. Is 134-year-old institute established in 1887, probably oldest in the country. And just to coordinate ourselves, because nowadays people are well aware about all IITs, so everybody tried to position them along with the IITs. So 3 main IITs of India, IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur and IIT Madras, are having their roots within the VJTI. In fact, IIT Bombay for first 2 years was incubated in VJTI till their Powai campus got ready. I was just giving you this idea so that you will get to know about the history and the legacy with which I'm coming up here. So these are some of our illustrious alumnus. Coming to the cyber security related work, as I was introduced, we have around 40 CVEs issued as a global advisories by US CERT. So in India, we are having CERT in, which talks about cybersecurity. Equivalent to that in US is US CERT. So they have recognized our work in terms of 40 different CVEs, and the global advisories were published. Schneider Electric has put us on their wall of thanks, and we are also recognized as one of the major contributor for identifying cybersecurity vulnerabilities in the OT or critical infrastructure. So with this background, let me begin for my actual topic. And what I will be talking about is the increasing cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, and as law enforcement agencies, how can we be addressing about this kind of incidences and how we can be responding to such kind of incidences. Very first known cyber attack as part of the nation state actors was in Iran almost 11 or 12 years back, when the Iranian nuclear enrichment program, which was going on very secretly, was sabotaged by using a virus called as Stuxnet. So Iran was secretly trying to go for uranium enrichment, and the countries who were not much happy with this kind of development, they developed a virus called as Stuxnet, and that went inside the industrial control systems or SCADA systems. And the first time, the physical damage was created as part of the cyber attack. So earlier, people used to steal the money in your bank account. They used to steal the identity. They used to deface the websites, etc., to put their ideological messages onto that. But there was no physical damage done by cyber attack up till this particular incident, which took place in 2009 or 10, where around 2,000 centrifugal pumps were burned down because of this particular cyber attack. It's a very well-known cyber attack, and you can get a lot of additional information in YouTube, in websites, etc., even if you search with the Stuxnet. There are a couple of movies also made out of this particular incident. But this was an eye-opener where people came to the reality that the nation-state actors can actually breach air gap, which is supposed to be one of the security measure in the critical infrastructure. The second eye-opener came when there was some Cold War between Russia and Ukraine, consecutively on 2 years, in 2015 and 2016, when Ukrainian power grid was brought down by another virus, which is called as Black Energy 3 virus. Now, a lot of people, after having a lot of media coverage, still are having questions about what happened to the Mumbai grid incident. Was that really China's hand for the cyber attack, etc.? Keeping aside all those things, whether it is possible or not, if you want to get that answer, the answer is yes, and not just once, but twice it has happened in 2015 and 16. So I told you that this cyber attack usually used to happen in Cold War kind of scenario. That time in 15 and 16, the similar type of incidences were happening between Ukraine and Russia, but it has not escalated to the problem as today we are facing. So in December, chilling winter of minus 34 or 40 degrees centigrade, for a major distribution utility in the Ukraine, for 6 hours, the power was brought down by the hackers, purportedly by the Russian hackers, as it is claimed. It happened in 2016 as well. So one thing is very much clear, that these things are not just fictions. but these are indeed reality, and India is not much far behind in experiencing such kind of incidences that we will be looking into the next couple of slides as well. But other than these two, many other cyber attacks has also happened on the critical infrastructure. These also include a lot of oil and refineries, gas and petrochemical installations, particularly in the Middle East, because that is the area where a lot of vibrancy is there in terms of nation-state actors. So in India, if you talk about, we were very happy considering the technological prowess of our neighbor. Except China, we know that the border countries are not that technologically advanced. So we were quite in comfort zone. But first time we realized the nature of cyber warfare when there was a news that our Kudankulam nuclear power plant, some of their IT computers, security was breached and the attack was perpetrated, but it was stopped right reaching at the OT systems. OT stands, by the way, for those who are not well aware about this terminology. In the security domain, people talk about information technology as IT and operational technology as OT, which comprises of industrial control system, SCADA system. So in nuclear power plant, you will have IT asset or enterprise network, and you will actually be having a plant monitoring type of system, which is called as OT. So luckily, that cyber attack percolation was detected and stopped at the IT itself. It didn't reach to the OT, otherwise you can just imagine the kind of havoc it would have created. And then everybody got worried about, the reason was the threat actor, which is generally called as APT, was found to be from North Korea. And that was much worrisome problem, because till that time we were preparing for war, whether traditional or cyber, against our immediate neighbors. But as I mentioned at the very beginning of my session, that cyber warfare is borderless war. You never know who is now trying to breach to your system. It can be somebody from North Korea, it can be somebody from other country which you never thought of, or it may be somebody who is there inside the country itself and launching these kind of cyber attacks. So this particular challenge is immense as compared to the traditional warfare, and that is the reason that as law enforcement agencies, we need to understand this problem well, and we need to be prepared to take on the challenge as quickly as possible. So this Kudankulam nuclear power plant breach, when it came into the public domain, first time in the Twitter, somebody posted saying that these systems were breached. Initially, the Nuclear Power Corporation denied that, and next day they agreed with the press briefing. But that was the eye-opener for India, that we are also not isolated in a connected cyber world. So that was the most important aspect. But the major media coverage got for 12th October 2020, 2 years back when the Mumbai power failure happened, and there were media coverage coming in from Wall Street Journal and Recorded Futures that whether Galwan Valley incident triggered this cyber attack or not. And a lot of deliberations were happening, a lot of inquiry committees were set. In fact, I myself was member of 5 inquiry committees, 3 from Maharashtra government and 2 from the Union Government of India. So I was part of the Maharashtra cyber team of Home Department of Maharashtra government, which investigated from cyber point of view. I was also part of the Maharashtra government's energy department, which looked into electric point of view. And then I was also part of one investigation committee by Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is a quasi-judiciary body. They took suo motu cognizance and tried to understand what really happened, because that was the media pressure created, whether indeed it was a cyber attack or not. So I don't want to answer to this question in binary format, yes or no, but rather than that, I would be very keen on giving you a couple of indicators. We don't want to draw a conclusion about that, because that was the incident which has happened 2 years back. What we are trying to see today in this particular session is, how can we be prepared for such kind of incidences? The reason I am talking about this is, when I was asked to go and investigate this from Maharashtra Cyber, as the forensic part, although for IT incidences, as I mentioned, the DFIR protocol is very well set. Here in case of OT security, there is no playbook for forensic analysis. If you try to adopt to the IT strategies to OT cyber attacks, it will be a disastrous one. The reason is, in case of IT, VAPT, for those who know this jargon, the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, that is one of the way in which people try to understand were your systems vulnerable or not. That cannot be used for OT. The reason is the devices which are used in industrial control system are having low bandwidth, low computation power, and if you try to use those tools of forensic on such kind of critical infrastructure, it may even be counterproductive. Counterproductive means the device may start behaving in a manner which you never imagine at all, and there can be even bigger catastrophe while doing the forensic analysis itself. So this was the eye-opener when we started looking for the forensic evidences as indeed whether there were some cyber traces of infiltration or not. And till today, we do not have that kind of protocol or playbook for the SCADA forensic as such. So tomorrow if such kind of incident happens again, today also we are blind and we do not have any idea about how the chain of custody or how the forensic analysis is required to be done. And forget about attribution as such, because there will be a lot of challenges when you try to attribute these incidences to some threat actor. So we did some kind of analysis. We got some 6-month data from the utilities which were breached, so-called, and we tried to analyze them. What you see on the left-hand side is basically a tool that we had developed for analysis purpose of this incident. So the data was very huge, and usual SIEM type of tools were not permitting this analysis. We created our own tool just to give you some indication that how we are actually being targeted as part of the cyber warfare by the nation-state actors. Again, caveat is we are not drawing any conclusion whether Mumbai incident was cyber attack or not, but we are under attack. That I just wanted to highlight. So if you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, you see some bar chart there. So the months are starting from January, Feb, March, April, May. That is a usual traffic that particular utility used to receive. Then Jan, you see sudden growth in that bar chart, blue colored one. Sorry. June, you see sudden, July, August, September, and October, you see again it is picking up. 12th October 2020 was the incident when the Mumbai grid failure had happened. So generally when the cyber attacks happen on the critical infrastructure, unlike James Bond movies, that some 19 or 20-year-old youth or kid wearing the hoodie or the cap in other direction, sitting onto the laptop and getting into the power grid, and with a click of button or mouse, bringing down everything. That is not happening in the critical infrastructure. Such kind of cyber attacks will be having a recon phase, as generally happens in all other terrorist attack or other type of attacks. And those are said to be from 3 months to 3 years. It is said that when Stuxnet attack happened on those Iranian nuclear power plant, the recon phase itself was of 3 years. That amount of motivation, resources, these nation-state actors are possessing. So here in this case, if you see, from June, it started picking up, and around 15th June, the Galwan Valley incident had happened, and there was a tension between India and China. So circumstantial evidences, if you want to talk about, you can immediately identify that there was something indeed happening and suddenly picking up if you compare with the traffic related to that and how it has picked up in the month of June, July, etc. So this is one incident. Then everybody went quite into their comfort zone, and that generally happens. So when 26/11 happened in Mumbai particularly, we are well aware about this. In a VT station or CST station, immediately there were metal detectors and all those things installed for a couple of months or so, and then everything became normal. The same thing happened here. 12th October 2020, Mumbai grid failure happened. And on 14th October 2022, last year, Tata Power announced that they were falling to cyber attack under the category of ransomware. Now this is one very interesting cyber attack which is now happening on critical infrastructure. Earlier this used to happen as a usual banking, finance and those kind of thing. But nowadays, these utilities, and that is why I want to draw your attention to this particular area, because this is a much neglected area, that our critical infrastructures are now increasingly under cyber attack, either because of some power projection. I don't know how many of you are from the strategic defense background. So power projection is some kind of strategy which is adopted by nation state actors to show that they have abilities and capabilities to inflict the damages on the enemy country. So as part of this power projection, we are increasingly finding that there are cyber attacks which are happening on critical infrastructure. So Tata Power, a lot of discussion is happening around this incident now in terms of the cyber security professional, that all their information was encrypted. So it is said to be triple ransomware attack. So ransomware attack happens when your information is encrypted and they will ask you to pay some amount of money in Bitcoin, and then only the information is said to be decrypted and you can start using it. Now you can save yourself if you are taken backup of your information. You can simply say that, no, I don't care about your ransomware. I have a copy available with me and I will reboot my system using that available backup copy. Now that story ends there. If that is the case, that's a single ransomware. But if the threat vectors or threat actors are much sophisticated, what they try to do is they would be putting your information about on dark web and then making it available to other people. So just imagine a situation, it's not a hypothetical one because we have actually extracted entire information of this ransomware from the dark web as well. We have a tool which we have developed again as part of BPR&D's project, wherein we extracted this information which was put on the dark web, and we realized that the network diagram of Mumbai airport, network diagram of Trombay power plant, nuclear power station, BRC, all those are available in the dark web. So just imagine a situation how much threat it poses to a nation when this entire information is given on a platter to our nation state actors, enemy countries with whom we are having some other disputes which are going on. So this poses a huge challenge. From industry point of view, they had a backup, they restored their system, and it was claimed that they didn't pay any kind of ransomware. But as a nation, we have lost vital information on a dark web which may be exploited by some other threat actors. So this is something, if you can just see on the right hand side, the entire information was put by this HiveLeaks, the ransomware actor, on the dark web, and people can get their manpower, human resources, every information which they encrypted, they put onto this dark web. A lot of cyber attacks are also happening on the cyber or supply chain contamination. I don't want to talk about this. So conclusion, I hope you will all agree with me that there is an involvement of nation state actors in growing cyber attacks on the critical infrastructure that India is witnessing. So this was basically about these cyber attacks, or one perspective of cyber warfare, which is called as a kinetic warfare. Now, non-kinetic point of view, this is called as information warfare. And this is where the law enforcement agencies and other people are much worried about. So before I can talk about that, let me just make you agree to my statement that with considering the power of social media, you can agree with me that with some kind of malicious intention, we can mobilize a complete campaign and try to make the things in a physical world. So generally we say that cyber world is a replica of physical world. There can be some other way around as well. Whatever happens in the cyber world will also be having its manifestation in the physical world. Yesterday's example, our own example, I would like to quote to you. In VJTI, we had a technical festival of 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just yesterday's example. ISRO's exhibition was kept as part of that, and we had announced that ISRO will be exhibiting their research and other related equipments. We took 16,000 registration online. 50,000 people came to our gate because that message had gone viral, and number of peoples which came to see that particular ISRO exhibition were so huge that Joint CP called our director yesterday and asked him to immediately close down the exhibition because there could be a chance of stampede as well. So from law enforcement agencies' point of view, the way in which social media gets manipulated, social media gets biased, all those things are now becoming much more evident. We had seen some kind of YouTube influencer calling their fellow followers for celebration of birthday in Delhi, and there were thousands of people coming on the road. So power of such kind of social media is also being used for a lot of nefarious purposes as well. So there are two examples that I would like to give it to you here, particularly with respect to information warfare. One is about the challenge that law enforcement agencies are going to face is about AI generated deepfake and the amount of damage it can cause. And the second one is the social media manipulation by some nation state actors. So these, both the research areas, we are currently working with law enforcement agencies, particularly with BPR&D for some research project funding. So one that I would like to showcase, by the way, considering the sensitivity of this analysis, we have masked some information, but it's actually a real analysis that we have done with the law enforcement agency. So when CAA and NRC campaign was going on, we don't want to debate into quality of that. That's not a purpose here. We are talking about technological aspect of that. So we tried to analyze the nature of social media campaign. From Twitter, around 7 lakh tweets we scrapped, and we tried to analyze that. The purpose was to understand whether this social media campaign was organic campaign or there was some kind of motivation behind this. So this is for the CAA campaign, and what we did in case of this, let me tell you. So these are all graph visualization of those 7 lakh tweets that we analyzed. We used one artificial intelligence concept which talks about how the epidemic spreads in your body, like a cancer spreads in your body. Mathematically, we replicated the spread of cancer and analyzed the tweets spread which has happened, and identified certain epidemic hubs. Now, epidemic hubs were those Twitter handles who were motivated or responsible for spreading that information. So the blue colored dot that you see are actually those Twitter handles, and the orange color things that you see are the tweets and the retweets as well. We observed that there were, of course, some genuine concerns, but there were a couple of those which were grossly manipulating the sentiments of the people around this. So we could identify few Twitter handles and report it to the respective law enforcement agencies as well. And the necessary action was then subsequently taken. So one Twitter handle we identified which was spreading a lot of information and misinformation about the CAA and NRC campaign. So we identified almost all and their network capabilities as well. Then we were asked to find out, are there any similarity in campaign or not? So while having CAA, NRC, after a couple of months there was Shaheen Bagh which happened, then there were farm agitations which happened. So we wanted to understand what are the similarity between these campaigns so that you can identify, are those actors same in most of those campaigns, and identify how are they related to each other. So sometimes they change the identities. It's very easy to actually create a Twitter handle and restart again. Or you can also be having bots which can be doing in an automated manner. In fact, we detected bots as well and reported them accordingly. So the analysis which we did was reported in a lot of research work as well. Of course, not representing this particular angle, because when we are in academia, at the end of the day, we need to publish some research papers. So what we were doing was secret or confidential information, but our masters and PhD students need to get the degrees and basis the publication. So we disguised it using saying that computational intelligence approach for cancer detection. So as I told you, it was as good as the epidemic which spreads in your body, and how can you relate to that? But this particular technology was used in identifying the social media coverage which happened respect to such kind of campaigns. Believe me or not, as a law enforcement agency, you will recall this sentence, in next 2 years, you are going to see a lot of menace of deepfake, both generation as well as detection. As 2024 elections will be coming close, you will start finding lot of videos getting circulated which would be having this kind of deepfake generated. As of now, you see a lot of such videos, but those are taken lightly with some kind of somebody else's photo being pushed onto somebody else's photograph and those kind of thing. Sextortion is one more area where people are already finding this particular problem, where they are imposing the face of somebody else on some other video and trying to blackmail people, and to some extent people have committed suicide as well because of such kind of deepfake. Now the challenge as of now is, although forensic has evolved a lot in terms of usual video creations, there are a lot of tools which are available, but for sophisticated AI generated deepfake, there are no devices available as of now to see whether it is a real video or it is AI generated deepfake. So you would be seeing some good examples of deepfake as well. As I'll tell you in advance as well, when 2024 election comes up, you will find that many political leaders are using personalized or targeted reach out to the voters. So probably that big leader may not be having time to utter everybody's name. So there can be some audio generated deepfake where a big leader will announce, but the message which goes will be with individual name. Probably somebody will talk about Farooq Kazi, I invite you to my party and understand what kind of growth we have done or what kind of prospect our party is trying to give it to. Probably they may not be knowing my name at all, but this can all be generated by using deepfake. So there are some good examples as well for targeted marketing, personalized marketing, but then from law enforcement agencies' point of view, what will be more bothering or concern is about the bad example and usage of this deepfake. So a lot of information is available on the deepfake. So what I will try to do, because our moderator is much concerned about the time, so we were working with IBM for developing a tool on deepfake detection. Generation, there are many. Detection is something which is challenging, and that is what is a more challenging part for the law enforcement agency as well. So with IBM, we were working for generation as well as detection. So just on a lighter side, because we wanted to reach out to as many people as possible, so we created or recreated a scene in a Three Idiot movie where Amir Khan explains the what is machine scenario, and in place of Amir Khan, we put the face of Jack Ma, and we tried to give the video as it is. It was then taken down by YouTube. We had put it on YouTube, and YouTube took it down because it was violating the copyright, because it was on the Three Idiot movie clip based on that. So there was some copyright infringement, and that video is currently not available. But the other one is there on the IBM's website. So this link is there where this video is available. And since I want to cut short, not in terms of content point of view, but from time point of view, so what I will try to do is, if I keep on speaking, probably there will be some diversions to my discussion. So there is a small 3-minute clip which will be giving you a complete idea about this particular challenge of deepfake and what work we are doing. Afterwards, if you want to see that again, this is anyway available in the public domain. So this particular work was done by our lab in collaboration with IBM. We have a 1 petaflop GPU in our lab, which we spent close to 1 crore rupees, providing some 40,000 CUDA cores and other huge computational capabilities. So I'll show you the video. What you see is the original video. Obama never spoke those words, but those were put in his mouth by using the AI generated deepfake. And what we did was actually the detection part of that. So the bounding box, green color, that one you see, that is a real. And the red color one is our algorithm detecting whether it is a real or it is a deepfake kind of photo frame. So I'll just play this video, and that will be the end of my session, because I wanted to give you 3 different perspectives, as I told you. One is cyber war with respect to critical infrastructure. Another one is about the social media, and the third one is about this AI deepfake. So it is there in the public domain.
In our earlier work at NCET Medias, we had created a deepfake that was copying Jack Ma on America in the famous What Famous Things Scene from Aliens. The video was released this year on the 18th of January, and the link to the video is in the description.
By the way, it is 3-year-old. This recording is 3-year-old.
Take a look at this video. What I see is a recording of how he was important to the performance and expression that were transferred to performance space using a method known as facial reenactment. This is the form of many different techniques that can cleverly combine what is real with what is synthesized via a computer to make people appear to say and do things they never did or never would. There are concerns about the gross sophistication and the risks they pose within group, information warfare, criticism for propaganda, celebrity defamation, and many more. This is a prominent example of the hyper-realistic deepfakes that we have alleged. Many people already have trouble telling the difference between real and fake videos, and the task will only become more difficult as deepfake tech becomes more advanced. We would like to present our model for detecting deepfakes by testing on this video. Here are the results.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, you have me say things
So the
like,
green one is real, the red one is fake. Unfortunately, the real frames you can see there, but the red one is somehow hidden because of the bottom line which appears on the screen.
total and complete picture. Now, you see, I don't want to say these things. It's not in public address, but someone else would. Someone, important to you. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. It's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources. It may sound basic, but how do we move forward? Age of information is telling the difference between whether we survive or whether we become some kind of up dystopia. Thank you. Stay home.
BPR&D is a very powerful method that makes deepfakes convincing and photorealistic. However, the very same method can be used to detect pixel-level aliases and manipulations. We use a convolutional neural network to perform binary classification of each frame in a video, finding all faces as either real or fake, with a probability of self-face being fake. We use Google's deepfake detection dataset which comprises of videos of 28 actors, all face swapped to be reasonable. We extracted faces from all of these videos using the related library in one. We trained our network on 150,000 real and fake faces for any box and achieved 95% test accuracy. Once the model was ready, we applied it to the Obama deepfake video, the result of which we've already seen. We used the IP power listening to the server between us created on the platform and also significant reduction in training time because of using multi-key configuration using our 400 GPUs. The power HCM input utilized high-tech power line CPU and 300 NVIDIA, creating a server capable of delivering massive throughput capability for high-power computing, deep learning, and AI workloads. Given that the deepfake technology is becoming often, we must adapt to these methods and incorporate them into our detection tasks. We are working towards a generalized model approach that plays well against various different types of deepfakes segmented through multiple different techniques. Since the attack looking of the manipulation is also of interest, we are also working on visualizing how the model detects artifacts that contribute to the fakeness of the data. We aim to achieve this by using explainable AI techniques. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more updates.
Yeah, so just to conclude the session, this research is being funded by IBM. We are jointly working with IBM. In fact, 3 years back, Kaggle had launched the biggest prize award for deepfake detection challenge. It was $1 million US, and we were in the top 5 of the leaderboard. So if you see, we were at the 58th, that is our team AI at VJTI. And one of our second team was at the 66th RefineX at Center of Excellence or COE at VJTI. So current work is basically including how can we use emotions for detection of the deepfake created by AI. So with this, I stop my session and thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farooq Qazi. That was indeed a very interesting session, particularly related to cyber warfare. As we all understand, the new era wars are hardly fought on the borders or frontiers, but they're all borderless wars. And hardly any country is immune to these kind of attacks. You have specifically focused on the critical infrastructure, such as the energy, oil, gas, water. And in fact, post-COVID, even health has been declared as a critical infrastructure. You have also mentioned issues pertaining to cyber terrorism. You have shared your personal experience, particularly in the investigation of the incident on the electric grid failure in Mumbai in 2020. And you have given other lively examples, the recent one being 2022 October attack, the ransomware attack on Tata Power. You've also talked about the challenges before the law enforcement agencies, particularly those pertaining to AI-generated deepfakes. We have all seen this video, and also social media the campaign, which can actually lead to which can have physical impact in the society. And apart from that, all the other issues such as threat actors who can put the data on the dark web. Even if we have that copy of our data which has been put on ransomware, even if we keep a copy of that, the data, still a copy stays with the threat actors, and they can always put it on the dark web. And the challenges that the countries face with all this. So at this juncture, let us shift the gears and let's talk a little bit about money. And we have an interesting lady speaker next, Ms. Dharti Dholaria. I'll give a quick intro about Madam. Ms. Dharti Dholaria has completed her MTech in cybersecurity from Raksha Shakti University, Gandhinagar. She is having more than 5 years of experience in academics. She has keen interest in the field of cybersecurity and delivered expert lectures to in-service and trainee police officers and government sector employees. She is also part of the internship and placement division of School of Artificial Intelligence, Information Technology and Cybersecurity. She has organized various expert lectures for students to bridge the gap between industry and academia. She has contributed in open source projects to integrate vast technologies in different platforms. So that was about Ms. Dharti Dholaria. Her topic would be the non-fungible token, that is NFT, and the case studies of money laundering. Over to Ms. Dharti Dholaria.
Very good evening to all the present here. The word which highlighted, which was spoken by sir, was lady speaker. I mean, none of the speakers were introduced as male speaker or gentleman speaker.
It's actually a privilege, actually. Honestly speaking, it's a privilege to have been addressed by a lady.
I agree, sir.
In that sense, I
agree, sir, and thank you so much. But I mean, there is a difference. I truly understand. In terms of participants too, as you can see, less than 1% audience is female, and all the trainings I organize, I especially mention that I need more female participants, and to find out female speakers is really hectic or maybe different.
So I hope CAPT takes a note of that,
yes,
and next time they send a message to the units, to the states, they would take care of that.
So just to make you aware that, as Shar rightly mentioned, I come from a university and I have very different background from 99% of all of you. So I just want to introduce my university because it's a very long day today, and if a video will play, you will be energized, and then we can start upon with NFT. I hope the audio will work here.
and citizen-centered services with intellectual acumen, more commitment, and professional competence. To inculcate these eternal values and ethos into every system, and to create well-trained personnel in the field of national security, the Honorable Prime Minister of India and the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Sri Narendra Modi, envisioned the university. Was not to be a lifetime university. It must be a lifetime simple way. Established in 2010, the infrastructure university in Gujarat started working diligently to strengthen one of the punch shaktis called the Raksha Shakti for the progress of the nation. The university was transformed from the state level into the national level in the year 2020 as the Rashtriya Raksha University under the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Government of India. Serving the nation as an institution of national importance, the university aims to become an academic research training ecosystem for national security and policing. It endeavors to impart international standards of training, research, education, extension in security, and policing with the help of qualified, committed, and motivated faculty. With the guidance and patronage of Honorable Union Home Minister Amit Shah and the Ministry of Home Affairs, RRU is laying strong foundation and preparing pool of dedicated young women and men who are aspiring to serve for a long time, Central Armed Police Forces, State Police Forces, Paramilitary Forces, Defense Forces, and private and corporate security. Spread over 230 acres land in Nevada, Gandhinagar, generously donated by the Gujarat government, RRU has been receiving support from the successive leadership of Gujarat since 2010 and has been nurtured by a committed institution leaders. The university has 10 schools, which offers diploma, undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctorate-level programs. The Security and Scientific Technical Research Association, SETCA, is India's first national security innovation center with an objective to facilitate a three-way engagement between academia, industry, and the government for innovation, incubation, and technology acceleration in the security space. Global and national experts, practitioners, and faculty impart contemporary and futuristic training and education, working towards enhancing the police image for their competence, dedication, and caring services, as well as empowering women in security. The university has state-of-the-art IT and cyber security lab, artificial intelligence lab, and machine learning lab, forensic lab, brain mapping tools, human performance lab, just to name a few. As an important organization of the External Affairs Ministry, Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, RRU is reaching out to friendly and like-minded nations across the globe, emerging as a contributor to the global security knowledge resource base. School of the Internal Security and Police Administration works with smart police who are strict but sensitive, modern and mobile, alert and accountable, reliable and responsive, techno-savvy and trained. Coastal and marine policing, tourism policing, community policing, and working for public safety and security of women, weaker sections and minorities. The university stands out as a fulcrum of future of India's security needs, interests, and concerns. Women empowerment and security centers precisely to empower through tailor-made programs for women to join security forces, to prevent, reduce, and control the menace and threat of narcotics, explosives, among others. School of Internal Security and Police Administration, the school is dedicated box squad with trainers and ready to groom boys and girls who want to join this emerging area of search and investigation of the national security. Continuous professional learning and enriching the knowledge base of emerging security needs. The online integrated platform, Drive, provides learning opportunities in any remote part of the country. With augmented base of 122 training programs and 6,500 beneficiaries till now, the university runs psychotherapy centers and villages like Navad, Samba, and Belgaum as a part of expansion and outreach initiative. One of you offers modern classroom facilities, advanced laboratories and equipment, digital as well as physical library, novel and adventure sports facilities, and good quality of office. The University NCC Battalion resonates the call to join armed and security forces. Strategic emphasis, knowledge of national and international affairs, insights into defense and military history of the nation and globe. Complemented by strong and rigorous physical and mental fitness training is an integral daily life of unarmed boys and girls. During the university's first convocation, 1,092 young graduates were awarded various degrees.
राष्ट्रीय रक्षा शक्ति यूनिवर्सिटी अपना व्याप बहुत तेजी से बढ़ाने का अब तेजी से सभी क्षेत्रों में जाकर अपना एक कैंपस को पूरे क्षेत्रवार चिंता करेगी.
Despite the raise in scale to the newer heights, RIU has opened its first off-campus center in Arunachal Pradesh, and the other one is coming up in Uttar Pradesh. In a short span of time, RIU has generated keen interest of joining for the national security field. Skilling his pilots, upskilling the in-service personnel, and reskilling ex-servicemen and women. RIU prepares right national security-related human resource organization.
यूनिवर्सिटी देश का कहना है जो राष्ट्र की रक्षा के लिए यहाँ ट्रेनिंग का निवारण शिक्षा ट्रेनिंग होगी और रक्षा के लिए आने वाले कालखंड में देश के अंदर नया विश्वास पैदा करेंगे.
The emerging global interest for security education.
So coming back to our topic, which is non-fungible token. There are many jargons which we usually, see in newspapers or maybe in the, magazines or, maybe in the news too, that cryptocurrency, bitcoins, NFT, or the online transaction that we usually do. So non-fungible token, just, Mr. Joshi asked me whether the bitcoins and NFTs are same or not. Because when we integrate all of this, it seems that all these things are same. So if we consider that, rupees or dollars or euros are same or not, in the same manner, we cannot say all these are, kind of currency, but it is not same. They work very differently. All this terminology came into India recently, and there are, very limited kind of scams which are going on. And I would also like to know from you that which kind of problems that you are facing, because when I searched about it, whether there are any cases of NFT scams or not, I couldn't find any, decent cases that I can discuss. So in the, moderating session, we may discuss that if there are any cases that you have, tackled in your profile or not. So first of all, we need to understand what NFT is and how it works. So an NFT is a digital asset which can be used for buying or selling or maybe trading of the most common type. NFT is also a digital files such as, photos or videos or maybe an audio. And why it is different from any other currency? Because it is having very unique identification. If I want to buy something in terms of art, I can, pay through a cryptocurrency. I can pay through even the normal currency that we use for our day-to-day life. And the difference that makes it different from normal art is it can have a footprint or a different identification. So NFT differs from blockchain cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. And the other term, as I mentioned, is Bitcoins. So you might have traded into any of this cryptocurrency. If you have crypto wallet, you might know that how easy it is to even invest or maybe to make money out of it. Anybody have ever tried to invest in cryptocurrency? Okay, only one. Any other? Coin DCX or other popular wallets, which gives you a platform in which you can invest through your money. You can buy bitcoins. So I think none of you have installed, or maybe you have tried it. Let me just explain that how you can trade through cryptocurrency. Then it would be easier for me to explain NFT, right? So there are various platforms available which are made in India, which allows you to invest in cryptocurrency. So what you need to do is, you need to put money into that particular wallet, just like you do for any of your, GPay or PhonePe wallet. Then you will be having list of cryptocurrencies which you can buy. So very famous or very, easy cryptocurrency is Bitcoins. Others are Ethereum, or maybe, even we have Indian cryptocurrency too right now. So what you need to do is, after you have loaded money into your wallet, you can buy those cryptos. So for an example, Bitcoin cost around 2 lakh rupees, one Bitcoin, 2 or 2.5 lakhs recently. So you can load this money into your account, you can buy one Bitcoin. Now you can also exchange. For an example, if I want to buy US dollars, I can buy through rupees. If I want to buy some euros, I can buy through rupees. In the same manner, if you want to buy some other cryptocurrencies through bitcoins, you can also buy it. I hope I am making sense. So there are very different cryptocurrencies which you can also exchange. For an example, Ethereum costs around 2 bitcoins. If you are having 2 bitcoins, you can buy 1 Ethereum, right? So this is how whole network of cryptocurrencies work. But as you also know, it is not a legal tendency. I cannot legally buy something from those if the production is not allowed in any of the manufacturing unit. So through NFT too, if you want to buy something, you can buy it through cryptocurrency, and you can also buy it through our local currency, rupees or dollars. So the next question is whether we should buy it or not, whether it is helpful for investment or not, and whether it is legal or not. The main question is, right? So there are many scams that are happening right now, which will give you an idea that it is not safe, specifically in India, to buy NFT, because there are platforms which will give you a NFT range of NFT products, and if you want to buy it, if you are purchasing it through any of the medium that I have mentioned, there are chances that those NFT will not be with you, because there is not any structure that we have made in India through which we can buy it, we can sell it. We are taking help of those structures which are not built in India. So if in case of any scam or any fraud will happen to you, we will not have any law which can protect you. Next is most common NFTs, which if you will search on Google too, you will find, like CryptoPunks or Bored Ape Yacht Club. I'll also discuss the case study of the last name that I mentioned. These websites are, having a platform in which NFTs are present. You can buy it, you can trade it, maybe you can resell it, and you can make money out of it. So now, as I mentioned, there are lots of risk in buying and selling the NFTs, because one is artist who is making that NFT. As I mentioned, NFT is nothing but a product. It could be an audio file, video file, or any of the paintings which have been made by digital artists. There are some buyers of those paintings or those NFT products, and there are some traders who want to buy it for some sake of money, and then they'll sell it on higher prices. right? So there are mostly three basic, people who are involved into it. And a famous case study in which, German YouTuber was, hacked or was attacked in this NFT selling and purchasing. So I'll also discuss this case study afterwards. But the thing which is very important is how, process of NFT is being taken and how we can go forward. So I am having a different presentation which I'm going to show with a small story. For an example, a girl which is being shown here wants to, sell her paintings, right? It's an online painting exhibition in which she wants to sell her painting. Now she is not having an idea about NFT, how it could be sold on those online platform, and she's just asking that how I can, sell into NFT. So he's taking help of any of the technical person just like me who can guide them that how you can sell it online and how you can, get a good price of it, and what would be the process of the same. So she will just ask the same question that might be in your mind too, that what is the benefit if I would make an NFT and sell it to it. So first thing is copyright. Usually if you see in the paintings, you will see there is an watermark of a painter on the bottom of that painting, which gives an identification that this is the painting of somebody, right? So NFT would be made digitally so that you can obviously identify through copyright, which is already there in your product. The other part is through any of the currencies, as it is mentioned in the top right corner. You can either buy through money, which we are having right now, or the cryptocurrency, crypto wallets that you are having. Now the term fungible and non-fungible comes into picture. So fungible is something that, as you can see in the example, if I have 100 rupees and if I want to transfer it into 20 rupees, 5 notes, I can do it in terms of fungible amount, right? Or maybe I can do it of 50 rupees of 2 notes, which can be transferred into 100 rupees. So all these currencies which can be transferred into the manner that I have just explained are fungible tendency or currencies. But non-fungible is something that, if I paid something, I cannot transfer it. I cannot make it into 2 different or 5 different pieces, right? So NFT is non-fungible because that cannot be transferred into those amounts. It cannot be even exchanged, right? So rupees you can exchange into dollars and euros, but NFT amount that you have purchased cannot be exchanged in any other, platforms. You just need to resell it. Maybe you can get a good price out of it. So this is the basic difference, and this is the process of, NFT through which you can go ahead. Now the second question that the girl would ask is whether, I'll be able to make it completely copyrighted by me or not, whether there are chances of making a copy or not. So this information is available with a dashboard which can give you an idea that who is the owner of that particular NFT. It is also having mention of who is the seller of that particular NFT, right? So there are less chances of forgery into this particular product. So as I mentioned, those fungible tokens, like cryptocurrency is also fungible token that can be divided into, different currencies like dollars. As you can see, first sign is of, I think, Ethereum, which is like $2,359, and Bitcoins is around $34,372, right? So when I want to purchase something from, any of the platforms, what I'll do is I'll just certify it that this is from my side. Then there are some platforms which are written down there, like CryptoPunks, which will give you a platform in which you can buy, sell, even store your NFTs. And there are more than 10,000 collectibles available on this platform. There are also other platforms which can give you an idea that how NFT will work. right? So this is the basic process. I'm sure none of you are going to buy it or sell it. The idea is, just to give you an example that how NFT works, the process that you are going to come across is the scams that are going to do in the future. So what I have tried to give you is a basic idea of NFT. Now there are some case studies which I was studying. As I mentioned that I couldn't find any from India. Maybe you could give me a case study and maybe we can solve it. So the one platform that I mentioned in my earlier presentation, which is Baller Ape Club, which is an NFT platform. They have created a collection of NFTs and they have put it up on internet. Many of the users have bought this NFT, and in any blue moon day, the website was just closed. So all the money which was there in that platform could not be retrieved. Even the traces of that particular platform was even not known to anybody who were doing transaction on that platform. So now the case is registered as any of the financial fraud happens into our country, that many a times somebody would take money from their maybe relatives or from other people, and they'll take this money and now they are gone, right? We know some of the people, and we have identified those cases recently in India too. So the same kind of case has also happened into NFT scam. But now the thing is how you would be able to identify those people. We just need to know the website in which the platform was hosted. The IT team would be also able to find out the IP addresses, and maybe then the case could be filed for those people who were building those platforms or who were behind those transactions too. So this is one case study. It is around 2.6 million from Baller APT NFT scam, and it could be a prison of 40 years because the money is quite big. There are many cases which were registered in opposition of this particular company. But with this, I just want to end this session because there is not much more of NFT, which is quite technical, and I am sure that you will not be interested into it. But I would like to know the cases if you have faced any in your profile. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I am looking forward for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tolaria. I'm sure the knowledge about NFTs is quite limited among the participants also. As you rightly mentioned, and I can openly admit that I myself don't know. I was myself confused that NFTs mostly Bitcoins, as you mentioned. And you have shared with us the issues pertaining to the NFTs. The NFT scams, of course, we don't have. Even we have not come across in our own state also. Being in the law enforcement agencies, we have not come across any such complaints so far, at least not to my knowledge. And also use of NFT, the intellectual property issues and also the legal issues, there being no proper legal framework till now in India and many other countries regarding the NFTs. So hopefully we take it further during the Q&A session, where probably our participants will have a lot more to ask in this. So we had started the day with the metaverse, and we would again end it with the metaverse. We have our final speaker of the day, Dr. Shishir Kumar Shandilya, and I take pleasure in introducing him to all of you. Dr. Shandilya is a Deputy Director of Secure, Center of Excellence in Cyber Security near Bhopal, and full professor in School of Computing Science and Engineering at VIT Bhopal University. He is working as a principal consultant to the Government of India for technology development and assessment in cybersecurity. He is known for his pioneer work on nature-inspired cybersecurity, that is NICS. He is also a visiting researcher at Liverpool Hope University, UK, a Cambridge University certified professional teacher and trainer, TEDx speaker, ACM distinguished speaker, and a senior member of IEEE. He is a NASSCOM certified master trainer for security analyst, SOC, and an academic advisor to National Cyber Safety and Security Standards, New Delhi. Dr. Shandilya has received the IDA Teaching Excellence Award for distinctive use of technology in teaching by Indian Didactics Association, Bangalore, and Young Scientist Award for 2 consecutive years, 2005 and 2006, by Indian Science Congress and MP, Council of Science and Technology. He has 10 books published by Springer Nature Singapore, IGI US, River Denmark, and Prentice Hall of India. His recently published book is on advances in nature-inspired cybersecurity and resilience by Springer. So we have a distinguished speaker amongst us today, and his topic would be metaverse security. Are we protected enough? Over to Dr. Shandilya.
Okay. A very good evening to all of you. Being as the last speaker of the day, I know how painful it is for both the sides. And so I'll start. I'll try to make the session as interesting as much I can, and I'll be keeping it 50%.
If you could make it little interactive also, it would be better actually.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So I'll be cut shorting it. So I'll be not taking more than 15 to 20 minutes. So will that be okay?
It would be perfectly fine.
So if I'm not going to hear anything, then I'll be continuing my 1 hour lecture probably. Okay, so let's start with this way. We were discussing about metaverse, we were discussing about cybersecurity, we were discussing about AI as well. AI particularly is the subject of interest of me, and I'll try to rather start my session with a joke. This is usually I discuss when I take the first session of AI in my class at VIT, is like, what is the smartest vehicle you have ever seen? Any example you can give? Smartest vehicle. You say intelligent vehicle. Yeah, let it be a smart car or smart bike or something like that. Bullock cart. Yeah, that's the answer basically. Can you please explain why it is? Yeah. So I think the gentleman is very, very intelligent. I don't know. So big round of applause. So the most intelligent vehicle we personally believe is probably the smart car or something, but it is not. It is a bullock cart. Why? I'll give you an example. I'll come back to this. I'll give you an example that if you are riding a bullock cart and there is a river, okay, and you are riding well, and you want to cross that river, what you will do? You will just kick it, and you'll try to, swim it across. Bullocks will not go. Okay, they were not going to listen because they know that they will die and you will also die in the river. Talking about a smart car, they were probably, if they'll be intelligent, is not probably properly configured, it will go in the river. Manual car, definitely it will go along with you also. So this is what the perception is. Talking about the technology, as moderator sir rightly said, I'm the person who comes from a defensive security background, and metaverse is basically new. So I'm moreover talking much about how to secure metaverse. So here we are going to discuss the security of something which you might have not experienced yet. How many of you are on metaverse or visited metaverse ever? I think 2 only. So we are going to have a demonstration today, probably after this 15 minutes quick lecture. And tomorrow, we were actually having, I have my PG students with me also. So we are actually trying to mimic the whole, we took some photographs of this auditorium and we are going to place it into the metaverse. So tomorrow probably we'll be giving you an experience of having this auditorium in a metaverse. So tomorrow we are going to do it, but today we'll be going to discuss specifically about the security measures. Sorry, sir? Yeah, sure, sir, sure. We'll be getting it prepared, then we'll be requiring your approval first of all. So, understanding the metaverse, many people have discussed about this thing. I just wanted to quickly recap about it. So, I just want, because being as a last speaker, I want me to give you some takeaways. So, metaverse is the term, basically, it was used initially in the novel called Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson's, and there they have used the similar kind of terminology, and then later on you know that after blockchain people have used it, and this is moreover maximum it got popularity when Facebook turned to Meta. So then people started searching about metaverse, and the search, the quantity, if you want to know the quantification of the search, the keyword, it was alone in 1 year raised up to 7,200% of individual keyword metaverse was searched. As per the Gartner, by 2026, which is just 3 years down the line, probably the 4th or 5th version of this conference we are going to discuss, almost 25% of the people will be spending at least 1 hour in the metaverse. So here we have only 2 people right now. After 3 years, there will be 25% of the people who will be in the metaverse. So this is very, very important. Talking about the statistics, there will be trillions and billions of the dollars. People are expecting it to get invested in this. Already the big giants, Google and the other companies, they are actually working. Meta is like Facebook is actually seriously talking only about metaverse. So there will be a lot of things we are going to see in the coming 1 and 2 years. Talking about the formal definition, I'll be sharing this slide. So I just wanted to mention that as per Meta, the metaverse is the next evolution of social connections, the social media. So we know, like we started from the age of Orkut, then we switched to Facebook, then we are on Instagram, and now very soon we are going to shift to some metaverse where we are going to experience our thing. So how it started. Sorry, I'm keeping my pitch very, very fast because I need to cover everything in 15 minutes. So we started with the video games. We started with the 8-bit, 16-bit video games, Sega, Mortal Kombat, and then we started with the then we shifted to the internet connected video games, where we talked about PUBG, where the internet was connected in the video games, and then we talked about the experiences. So everything it started, like some of you might be also thinking that why metaverse is getting this much of popularity. It's just a kind of game. Everything is virtual, and that people are, a good bunch of people are saying that metaverse is just a hype. Probably after 5 years, nobody is going to talk about it. So we'll be discussing about it, but this is how it is evolving. Coming to the specific topic, if we combine metaverse with cyber security, these are some of the problems which we will be going to face, because these are the characteristics. So in metaverse, we are going to have the avatars. NFT ma'am has recently mentioned. So we'll be going to buy, we'll be going to sell, we'll be going to do almost everything what we are doing in the real world. So that is why it is moreover very, very important to get ourselves protected, our assets protected in the metaverse. We are also gaining the access to VR, AR, MR, and there are multiple devices as well. So we need to protect them also, because those devices might be more vulnerable. As you might be thinking that your laptop might be having an antivirus, but your smartwatch don't have. But you are connected with your smartwatch and the laptop as well. So you are not giving much cybersecurity aspect to your smartwatch as you are like some of you might be thinking that we cannot be hacked through a smartwatch, but actually it is true. So there are things like this. So we are talking about avatars, and why we are talking about security, because these are some of the information what we thought of having you as a better avatar. So if I'll say that I'll be giving you your avatar, you expect that your avatar should look like you. You might have seen, most of people, they have some AI applications now available. So they will take your picture, they will modify it, and they'll give you a similar kind of beautiful or handsome kind of image of yours. So that is kind of avatar. But when you go to metaverse, you want to be more like you. It is your avatar. So then your behavior, expression, your facial expression, maybe your choices, your social circle, everything would get copied to that avatar, and that is a problem. if you are talking, like most of you might be coming to Bhopal from different place, right? And I think most of you are, having good age. You all are seasoned people. When your kid is going to from one city, from your hometown to some other city, you always give some, some instruction. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't talk to people, the bad people, and all the other stuff. Similar thing still we follow. Still, if you are traveling from airport and if somebody is talking to you much, and if he is talking about your personal stuff, where you are working, what is your employee ID, you will stop talking to them probably, right? So this is our protection method. This is a behavioral protection method, right? And in the avatar also, this the story goes same, because that avatar would be very, very similar to you. How it is similar, we'll be discussing in the next slide. So this is one of the quote found on internet, that sometimes the people closest to you betray to you, right? The people who knows you well will be having higher chances to betray you. And obviously the last one is that if it happens, then your home is not the place you can be happy anymore. So here the home is metaverse. I'll be skipping few of the points, and yeah, so I was mentioning that we are getting connected to, we are going into the metaverse through our AR VR handsets, internet connection, laptop, and some other gadgets as well. All these gadgets are of different companies. They all are having different vulnerabilities, and that itself cause a bigger damage. Now, importance of cybersecurity, why it is important to discuss right now, is the first one is reputation. You will never go to a place which you will say that crime rate is say 200%. You will not visit that place, at least with the families, right? Why? Because you know that that particular crime rate is very, very high. This is reputation. You would like, if you are going to a foreign country, probably you will see all the cities where you want to visit, and you will also see the crime rate as well, because you are going there along with your family. You want to get protected. Same goes with the metaverse also, that if you found that particular metaverse is, there are multiple crime incidences happened in that metaverse, you will not select it. And the whole bunch of business, whatever the millions and trillions the companies are investing, they are actually going to suffer due to it. So reputation is very, very important in metaverse, and they need to have some laws, they need to have some audits, they need to have some methodology by which they can actually sell it that our metaverse or our place or our portals, they are safe. People stopped using Facebook. Like in India, there are as a police officer, every other day that somebody hacked another profile. Impersonation cases are very, very high in FB. It is not the case in LinkedIn, right? So if it is a very small example. So it goes well with the metaverse as well. The second one is relation with the physical world. So here I'll be just talking about in a while what I meant about it by this particular term. Then there is a no regulation and moderation for the metaverses. So for internet, still we do have something. Government of India is doing wonderful job. They are actually blocking the website. They are blocking the content. We do have many methods by which we can identify the abusive words, and we can delete it, or at least we can blur it. The technology is much more advanced and matured now. But for metaverse, it is still going up. The last one is the dark verse. So that we have good kind of website, the educational website or entertainment website. We do have bad kind of website as well, right? Which nobody should go. Like the dark web also, the place where probably we don't want our kids to go. Same place in the metaverse, there will be a term called dark verse. And this is very, very important. We can have another complete lecture on this dark verse, and this is going to be a very good buzzword very soon. So these are some of the consequences. You can say, you can see the recent posts from New York Times and the other many incidences happened on metaverse, and you can see that the allegations, the act were very, very serious. I can just play a small video if it is possible. now you can see that it is a very small video. I don't want to play it completely, but you can understand. You may say that okay, this is just a my avatar. It is not going to give any problem to me in the physical world. But consider that if somebody is posting something about you on Facebook, this is not also causing any physical harm to you, will it? No, right? But you have friends there, you have your family members there. Situation will become pathetic in metaverse as well. Talking about real estate, as ma'am has already covered about NFTs, there is no regulation, but people are buying, selling, and it is in the the black market also. You can see like it is not possible for me to buy a land in America right away in one click or anywhere. I need to have multiple documents. I need to show bank balance, citizenship, PR. There are a lot of things. But here in any metaverse, I can just go there and purchase if I am having some bitcoins. So that will also create a problem. So cybersecurity in metaverse alone in 2022, there will be 60% new attacks in the world. Majority of the attacks are more advanced. People have talked, the experts have talked about advanced persistent threats as well. And there are, with the advent of quantum computers very soon, probably the nature of the attack will be worsen enough. So by this looking at things, I just left one point, that how it is related to the physical world. So this is the term called digital twin, which is a technical term. Common people don't know much about it, but there are three basic terminologies. This is the takeaway from this particular session for you. First is the digital model. We see whatever virtual reality is, it is a digital model of a physical world. So how we compare it? You can see that the physical object and the digital object, they are not related to each other. They are not generating, they are not coordinating with each other. Then we say that it is a physical model. So I have a car, a Mercedes, I have a NFS, a need for speed. There also I have a Mercedes. That Mercedes and my home Mercedes is not related to each other. So that is called digital model of a car. Then digital shadow, where the physical object and digital object is one way connected. If I make some changes in the physical object, the digital object will automatically get changed. This is called digital shadow, right? Then the last one is digital twin, where both are correlated with each other one-on-one. So if I change anything in the digital model, it will get changed in my physical world. And if I'll change anything in the physical world, it will get changed in the digital model. Think about your avatar. You have all the sensor in your body, and then somebody is beating you in the metaverse, right? So obviously the technology is not reached up to so far, but what point I want to make here is that digital twins would be the future. People are working on involving digital twin into metaverse to give you a better experience, and this better experience will be having multiple other consequences as well. Thanks to my mentor and guide, Pawan sir. We were just discussing about it, and he asked me that what you are going to present today. So this slide recently I added, how the metaverse will be used by police department. So this is the 6th point what we have added as a technologist. Probably it need more refinement if we'll be sitting with the people like the senior people like you. The first one is the Autobot or auto avatars. Right? So that would be the first solution for securing the metaverse, securing the people in the metaverse. The second one is the regular checkpoints in the metaverse. Who is entering, who is exiting, what are their identification? That could be the other point. The third one is the emergency complaint center, like a police station in the real world. So people need to have somebody, some email ID, some some checkpoints where they can go and they can complain about something is happening in the metaverse, specifically in the dark verse as well. The fourth one is the daily activity, the ML based lock checking. This is already done. We do it in the cyber security as well. So that could be also implemented in metaverse. The fifth one is the masked UIDs. So obviously the Aadhaar and the other UIDs are already masked, but here in the metaverse also we can have such kind of UIDs where we can actually have, will be able to identify a person with confidence without revealing his or her own personal identification. The last one is a specific act and sections in the IT sections or the international laws. That would be probably, you can say that it will be a futuristic policing. So thank you all for this. I'm not going to leave you right now. We'll be going to have a very small quiz. So could you please quickly take out the mobile phones and type it on your browser, joinmyquiz.com. Yuvraj, you will going to tell me the code. It will take you another 2 minutes only. joinmyquiz.com and then enter the code 4279. This might be visible on a screen very soon. 427964. Come here with the laptop. Will you be able to join?
I think the Wi-Fi is not working so well. So.
Okay. Okay, fine. So with the time, actually, we thought of having a very small quiz for you guys, talking about this lecture, but we'll be just leaving it right now. I'll be just switching back to my presentation. And only one more information I just wanted to give you. After that, my student will give you the demonstration. I'll introduce him also as well. The last one, what I just mentioned you is like as a technologist, as a cybersecurity enthusiast, we actually we are working on. Just what happened? Yeah. So we thought about many things, and as I mentioned that. Okay, that's okay. So as I mentioned that apart from being a technologist, like apart from doing a lot of things, lot of algorithms, what we understood is that if the technology is not useful for the common people, the technology is of no use. It may give me a PhD, it may give me some very good kind of paper, reputation on my personal behalf, but it will not give anything back to the society. Having this particular discussion with my mentor, we, with collaboration with CAPT, we did an operating system. We developed a complete operating system called Kavach OS. The Kavach OS, don't get confused, Kavach is another app with the government of India. So we'll be soon going to change the name of that particular OS. The OS is exhibited outside near the entrance, and there you can feel and you can understand what the operating system is. I just wanted to give you a small brief about that operating system, that we developed this operating system specifically for our kids. So if as a father, if I'm giving mobile phone to my teenager boy or girl, I'm always under fear that what they are going to see. Even the YouTube, you know that there are lot of things which are inappropriate, and it is coming on Facebook and YouTube. You might have experienced it as well on your mobile phone as well. You don't want to it to seen by your kids. So we made this operating system specifically for teenagers to stop all the cyberbullying, to give them a very soothing small environment which will be yet educational. It's a complete operating system which is working, which is established. We already launched a stable version of it, and it is not only serving the kids, the teenagers, but it is also serving the specially abled children, like dyslexic people, dyslexic children. So there are multiple things here. Probably if sir will allow me, tomorrow I'll be going to demonstrate that particular thing as well to you. Please spare some time on our desk and see that how what we have did. We definitely, it is a pre-launch exhibition, so probably we need your feedback, and we will definitely going to reconfigure it. So thanks a lot. I just invite my student Yuvraj Singh, and I have few other like Agni, Aditya, Yash, and one more? No. and Praharsha. So these students of VIT Bhopal University, we came here. And now quickly, Yuvraj will going to show you one of the metaverse and experience you can see, and tomorrow probably we are going to give you some credentials of it. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So, enough of hearing definitions of metaverse. So, among many platforms of metaverse like the Sandbox, Roblox, and the horizon of Meta. So, as you can see, we have Decentraland, the first ecosystem developed for metaverse. So, yeah. So I have after owning a land on metaverse, we can build anything. Maybe a party, we can host a party, we can build a mall. So here someone has hosted a marriage on metaverse today. So I have joined that, and here is a poker game going on. Okay. Here I can move along. People are playing. Okay. So these are the boxes which we can own by, that is, these boxes are the land which we own, like buy and build anything, and based on that we can build anything and do. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj, and we'll be going to discuss more about it tomorrow probably. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Shandilya, and thank you, Yuvraj. So that was the final session for the day, the final address of the day, where Dr. Shandilya has mentioned about various cybersecurity issues related to metaverse, especially pertaining to avatars, dark webs, financial frauds, various privacy issues, and also cyber physical threats. And as he mentioned, the takeaway, which in fact I think most of you all, including me, may not be knowing the term digital twin, which is a two-way relationship between the physical object and the digital object, where change in one would impact the other. And also the policing part, how we do the policing in the metaverse, which is securing the people through the Autobots, or having some checkpoints, log analysis, emergency complaint system, or mass UIDs and specific action sections. So a few takeaways there. And thank you for closing the session well on time. So we had 5 speakers in the post-lunch session. We had Shri Madhav Chablani, who has spoken about the role of technology, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning and big data in cybersecurity for crime prevention. Dr. Mohammad Sufyan Badr has talked about the gate analysis and its role in the investigation. Dr. Farooq Qazi has spoken in detail about the cyber warfare and its manifestation in critical infrastructure and information warfare, giving some live examples. Ms. Dharti Dholaria thereafter spoke about the NFTs, non-fungible tokens. The money laundering part, we are still yet to see something on that. And Dr. Shishir Kumar Shandilya in the last session has spoken about the metaverse security and the protection part, the policing part of that. So that throws, I now throw open the forum for the question and answer session. We have all the 5 speakers here. And before that, Shri Madhav Chablani, who has given the first session, he wants to play a couple of videos for you, the short ones. So we'll just play those videos. And thereafter, I invite the participants to have an interactive session. We throw it open for the question and answers as we promised. after each session. So, can we play the videos?
Other new technologies like sensors, drones, equipped augmented reality capabilities, real-time command acquired that's collecting information out of everyone, regardless of whether you're involved in a crime. And I don't want to invent a version of America where people are afraid to do things in life because of being watched all the time. To understand how police departments use these technologies, which makes law enforcement much more powerful, we've traveled to New Orleans. For the past year and a half, the city's Office of Homeland Security has been operating a real-time crime center. The city's installed over 400 cameras in hotspots, from the French Quarter to Adeline districts. It also pulls in camera feeds from over 150 businesses and private homeowners. The system screens all incoming calls for service, including 911 calls, with automatically activated the network of cameras. All of these cameras will spin up automatically with the software when images is created within 20 hours of the response. So your eyes can be there before an officer's eyes. Sure, all our cameras are going to go through the cameras 40 times after this. When you very easily want that to see it happen. Sure, it obviously associated with the criminal matter, we go through the historical footage, provide that information for officers. Some police officers in New Orleans have quickly embraced this access to recorded surveillance. Criminal covered by cameras? Yes. Cameras out every intersection. Paul Johnson has been with the New Orleans Police Force for 6 years. He's a licensed detective in the French Quarter. That camera right there is not even playing sight right there. Correct, yes. This particular camera actually assisted me on my latest case filed a couple months ago. We had a shooting at this very intersection at 4:30 in the morning. The gentleman got shot trying to do the victim. We watched the video surveillance, went back and showed that actually he was actually seeing the young man first. So it kind of helped us exonerate the guy we were looking for and came out the camera. Do you think he would have known the truth? No, absolutely not. We talked to Paul Miller, the second in command of the New Orleans Police.
This is one of the very famous Wall Street studies on surveillance and AI as a double-edged sword. They have clearly articulated the biases. What is being done over there cannot be applied to India, in India model.
One of the first questioning the surveillance cameras in New Orleans was community activist Judy Green. She says that some people in her group stopped watching Noah or are afraid that they can be monitored since the camera was placed right next to their community camera.
Knowing that the city is observing you and monitoring you and make people uneasy and uncomfortable about having a public conversation about the politics of the city.
In your neighborhood, is there consensus? Do you have these cameras good opinion?
No, I don't think so at all. I've seen a lot of neighborhood association meetings. People will say, we need to turn on this corner because this is a crime corner or this is a problem corner. It's very easy to sell the narrative that these are here for your protection. You know that people of color, black and brown folks are disproportionately profiled and targeted by police, arrested, incarcerated. So while, I don't want to be wrong, I want to be in a community.
After the session, this is a breather and possibly a good page for a moderation. Anyway, you had a very nice speaking session. Very thoughtful, very thoughtful. It was not a cyber warfare, but it is beyond. Yeah. Especially Tata Power is very insightful. I was not aware of the dark web directory structure. What TCS has told me is entirely different. They could not do it ultimately.
More and more law enforcement and public safety agencies even for AIMS, they have technology. More and more solutions with one of the largest vendors in the space. In 2024, the company showing us some of its new high-tech gadgets and technology. Going the infrastructure layouts on the carpet is a very critical thing. Overall solutions sells a system that augments drone footage with real-time information, like labels identifying each officer on the scene. The image guidance from overall solutions is pointing a suspected criminal, and one police officer at a private testing requirement as opposed to the public. So this is you walking up on the scene, and we're tracking you from the drone scene. Drone attacks is fast. When the smart vest is pierced, the embedded sensors automatically notify the command post, so they can send reinforcements. They also switch on the body-worn camera. Because the body camera comes on, we actually have a description of who's stabbed. I noticed the little logo shows this now using the suspect's description. You can electronically punch them down. We know that it was a man, we know that he was wearing a red shirt, we know generally what time it was. As we start seeing all these people in red shirts, we can start looking for the actual individual that we're looking for. Literal solutions calls this descriptive artificial intelligence. This is a very famous app. Which is initially started in several counties in US, but now it has a reservation, so it is no more being used. And the same history came on CNBC. It's a very recent. This virtual time machine is per se is a game changer. Because it eliminates the need for officers to track a suspect in enforcement for days on end. Some of these new video analytics tools can detect weapons or unusual behavior for direction and violence. Yeah, this is the typical one, so to the airport, they're coming out of if anybody walking direction air, they're fine. If they're not walking in the direction, it's fine. Previous research of artificial intelligence is a camera that will send itself to find unusual movements. The camera will learn the normal motion activities in the station over about a week or 2 weeks. And what is it is automatically creating the No, this is a summarization, basically. Unusual motion detection. What happens is especially what is being talked about AI can do. Setting a picture of motivation.
So once again, thank you all the speakers for the day. Now, I request all, sir.
Hello.
Thank you very much. My question to all the illustrious panelists is, all through the day we've been hearing about the artificial intelligence. My question is, are we working with the same effectiveness as far as the counter artificial intelligence is concerned? Which means the preventable, how to prevent the malware or any kind of invasion in the, to corrupt the artificial intelligence. Are we working with the same zeal or not? This is question number one. Second question is, all through the day we've been hearing about the metaverse kind of thing. My question is it not going to add insult to the injury as far as the addiction to the social media is concerned? So we should keep this also in mind. Thank you.
Would any of the panelists want to answer that question?
I try it over here. Can I have your name and introduction? You're from?
I'm Dinesh Chand Sagar. I'm an officer from Indian Police Service, 1992 batch, Madhya Pradesh cadre, currently working as Additional Director General of Police, Scheduled Zone, Madhya Pradesh.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
We have been using the traditional approach, and I think it is not getting fit. The AI approach is much needed because if we don't act fast, the way attackers are moving, they are already equipped with the AI, meaning to say the kind of model training, the malware development they are doing, if we are not acting fast to protect, we cannot prevent it. I have not understood exactly the term.
Like what sir is saying that artificial intelligence as a technology itself is vulnerable, and it can be misused
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
So basically, the way the malware is being created, now it is much more sophisticated, that it is making use of newer technologies, which is machine learning and deep learning, and they are intruding into our system. If we don't act fast and if we don't use the tools the way the malware is being created by the attackers, then we are vulnerable, right? So I don't understand the term reverse engineering. Yes, if you call the reverse engineering the way they created the malwares, and if we use the data analysis to understand what they created it, and to do the detection part, and then to do the prevention part, yes, we are already moving on to it. And I have myself attended a course which was sponsored by MIT, and it was taken out by IIIT and Regional Engineering College. Irrespective of my background and my age, I am a passionate, as I said it in my session. So at my age, I went and doing that thing hands-on, and it was very, very knowledgeable session. I gained it. So I advise, irrespective of your positions and whatever in order to understand the subject, you have to immerse your hand and take a passion in it and learn it. And if you are learning, create the capabilities within your organization, make them learn, make them go and attend those training sessions and create the capabilities. India need big capabilities. Other countries, they have built massive capabilities. We are just starting from stage 1 or 2. And I think as Dr. Farooq has very nicely brought it up, the way the VJTI has been doing, it is immensely applaudable. And I think we must have sectoral collaboration along with the law enforcement agencies collaboration, because this cannot be happening in silos. AI algorithm is a double-edged sword, as sir was mentioning, and what video was bringing it out. What is happening in America cannot be brought to India. India is still a different region, and it is a different area to work upon. But we have to try to combine the silos, orchestrate together in order to even prevent the malwares intruding into our ecosystem.
Thank you, sir. Now, before I move ahead, I just have a small thing to ask with Dr. Farooq Qazi. Like you had mentioned that we don't have still any established response mechanism to handle cyber terrorism, right? So cyber infrastructure is something that we are all interested in, all the critical infrastructure. And similarly, you also mentioned that even for the OT attacks, the operational technology attacks, there's no set procedure actually, and we don't have any forensic tools also to do the analysis. So in such situation, what do we do exactly? How do we handle it? What does the government do? By the time the cyber terror, any attack happens, as you mentioned, it's already a few months down the line. So haven't the government still come up with any response mechanism, or there's no way we can come to know about in the real time, on real time basis?
Yeah, so NCIIPC is created basically to handle such kind of cyber attacks on the critical infrastructure. And there is a SOP being prepared, the way in which the incident reporting should happen, the time duration in which incident reporting must happen, and to whom it should happen. So that kind of SOP is prepared, that is there.
I think there are some guidelines have been issued already. Within 6 hours they have to report and all those things. But are they practically being followed? What if the organization itself does not come to know that the attack happened? Like in the given case, in the Tata's case, maybe they came to know about it much later.
Exactly. So that is the problem basically, and that is the problem I was identifying, that between IT and OT, you never come to know immediately in real time when the cyber attack happens on the OT system. It takes a lot of time to differentiate whether it was a system failure or it is a cyber attack. For example, generally we are used to have blackouts or load shedding to happen. I don't know the situation here in the Madhya Pradesh, but almost most of the states in India, they are power deficient, and we would always be facing the load shedding kind of problem. So it will take some time to figure it out whether the power failure is because of cyber attack or because of such kind of load shedding or system failure, because that differentiation, even in the Ukraine power grid cyber attack when it happened in 2015-16, it took around 3.5 hours for them to understand that it was actually a cyber attack, and their response team came in action. So the biggest problem in the critical infrastructure is, although SOP is there, although the timeline and guidelines are given, you come to know about the cyber attack much later. That is the basic
Is there no robust mechanism? Like you mentioned, all these threat actors, they involve themselves in reconnaissance. They'll do this for over a period of time, sometimes even a few months or years also, before they actually launch the attack. So don't we have any proactive measures or any robust mechanism that during the reconnaissance stage we can detect it? There's no way we can do that?
There is, in fact, if you recollect the slide that I had shown with respect to Mumbai incident, you would have seen the unusual traffic started reporting or happening at the regional SLDCs in the month of June, July, whereas the event occurred in the month of October. So that should have triggered, if somebody was monitoring that activity, it should have triggered some kind of alarm, but nobody was monitoring that. That is the problem in terms of anticipating such kind of events or incidences which might happen. So now there is some mandate coming in from Minister of Power and Central Electricity Authority that these critical infrastructure should have something called as security incident and event monitoring, or SIEM and SOC kind of solutions. Probably slowly when people are realizing this kind of things which are happening, they will start figuring out what can be the proactive mechanism. It took a while for people to understand that this is a reality. So now since they are agreed upon, maybe some security solutions will come up, and proactively at least some kind of alarming can happen much in advance, where you can take some kind of measures to protect this kind of critical infrastructure.
Thank you so much.
Can I add a point?
Yeah, please.
Sorry. Actually, it will take time to have a supervised learning and unsupervised learning, building classifiers or predictors. And it is a gradual, as I said it in my presentation, that the first time it may not prevent, but it will give a good learning experience. Probably the next time we are a step next, and we will graduate on it. And it is not that various sectors, they are not working on it, or various academic institutions, they are not working on VJTI as an example, IIT Kanpur, IIT Mumbai, IIT Chennai, all of them, they are working and they are building the supervised learning models and unsupervised learning models. Here what we are saying that we don't know something, then it is unsupervised learning. So we are worrying, but it may not happen now, but we have to slowly train our model with more and more data, and that is where sectoral all the sectors, they need to join together. ICS also cannot happen in silos, it happens in unison. If you remember another brilliant example which he was saying about the power, but there is another brilliant example which came in last year, last 6 months. Not one hospital, not one major hospital, but 8 major hospitals, they were breached in sequence. Some came in paper, some those who were private, they never came in paper. I'm a consulting CIO with one of the largest healthcare group, and I cannot say that my hospital was breached and something was paid for it. But yes, what came in the news was much bigger hospital which came in the news, and we all know about it. But it was a learning lesson, and the work is in progress, and something will happen.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
can I?
Yeah. Sorry, ADG sir asked a question, two-part question, and I'm not happy with the answer. So, if I can take a shot at the question, which, so let me take a shot at it.
Yes, sir.
So, AI models mainly work on the data provided and the learning given it to the AI model. Similarly, people can induce wrong data and steer the AI in a wrong way, real time. With the 5G network and amount of processing speed happening, it could happen. Yes, at this point of the time, I do not think that many people came up with any paper or anything like that. People are not focusing on it yet because AI has not became a prominent decision maker yet. I think a couple of years down the line, when the transformation happens, your question will become more mainstream. So anybody can induce wrong data and wrong learnings and manipulate AI for sure. The second part of it, back in the days, I'll take an example which everybody understands. When people are excited to learn about pornography 20, 30 years ago, they were reading books. The moment internet provided opportunities, everybody gratifying through videos. Imagine that could become an experience in the new world. Addiction is a very easier thing to happen with the youth. So there have to be not only safeguards within the platform and companies, but as a society also, sir. I think majority of the sexual crimes in India, I will award it for free internet, even though the data is there because it is available and it is easy. So I do think that it's going to be a lot more addictive than how the device usage happening today for sure. And also you asked a question, sir answered about critical infrastructure. In US, when we are there, the standard operating procedure is all the controlling systems are not connected to internet. They're all stays on intranet. So unless some rogue actor within the organization somehow managed to get an entry point into your controlling systems, you will not even be able to operate them remotely. So there is an operating procedure. I'm glad he also said that it is setting an operating procedure. It's really important that not only beside the security layer, I think that
yes, some cutoff point beyond which even if the attack happens, the attacker cannot trespass beyond a limit, something of that sort. I don't know.
Yeah, so there is something called as air gap. It's a mandatory, and probably that was the reason that Kudankulam nuclear power plant breach which had happened, which was restricted only to the IT network or enterprise network, and because of the air gap, it was not percolated to the OT. CEA guidelines, Central Electricity Authority guideline also, number one, the cardinal principle says that there should be air gap between the OT network and IT network. But then in the age of digital transformation, ensuring such kind of air gap becomes a bit challenging, because such kind of critical infrastructures were never designed keeping cybersecurity in the mind. So there are a lot of porous boundaries which are there amongst the north-south traffic and east-west traffic, that putting some kind of network segmentation and air gap becomes practically infeasible once the systems are developed and evolved over a period of time. So that is a challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you. I request Ms. Dharti Dolaria to talk a little bit more about how the money laundering can happen with through the the NFTs. I mean, and what is your opinion whether India should actually make it legal? We see, despite there being no law, people still deal with the crypto. So, just as an opinion, like, would it be good if if the government makes it legal, or will it have its implications on the economy, on the legal system, or how does it impact overall from the security point of view, and how the money laundering happens through that? Can you just throw a little bit of light on that?
There are a few other points with money laundering. I mean, money laundering is not a recent term. We have seen this term since a long time. But now it is becoming easier for, all these people who wants to do, just because of the technology like NFT and dark web and cryptocurrencies. And it is also becoming easier because those who are dealing with those people are not aware about it. Those who are, filing cases or maybe doing investigations are not having enough knowledge about cryptocurrencies, because you need to know the structure of it. If you want to
No, but like for purchase of the cryptocurrency, the money is transferred first to the wallet and then it is purchased.
Yes.
So is it not accounted money? How is it money laundering?
No, of course it is an accounting money, but when you will disappear, if I'll just shut down my company, I will just disappear and I'll not, give back those money. It will be, So what I mean to say is, the way that, they are using this new technology is becoming easier for them to, do money laundering. Otherwise, the, technology or the cryptocurrencies are just becoming part of it. So we cannot completely say that, just because of cryptocurrency or NFT, the money laundering
is anyway already there.
Yes, exactly. So this is my point, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Pass the mic, please.
Yeah.
Sir, it's audible.
Yes, sir.
Well, ma'am, good evening. I'm Sudhir, IG Provisioning at SSB headquarters. What sir was just querying about, just a further query. E-Rupee has just been I believe 1 or 2 months back, it has been launched. Is it a NFT? Or is it just a electronic mode of transaction of funds? Is it going to, strengthen the transaction systems, or is it going to be just like another aspects of other electronic currencies like Bitcoin or this thing? If you could shed some light on that. Thank you.
So the answer of first question is, it is not an NFT. Second thing is, it will be easier for, taking down the transaction, taking down the database of those transactions which are coming through e-rupees. So now we are having decentralized system in terms of banks, in which, taking down all the transactions which are happening in different banks, and even the, other part of banking which comes, negative part, while, loan system, or maybe somebody has taken a bigger loan and now they are not able to pay it. So e-rupee might, because it's a futuristic thought, it might create a very easy system for, banking as well as for the transaction too. But what could be a biggest advantage is, we are having a structure. We might have some laws after this, that if there is some fraud, financial fraud especially, we would have some kind of SOPs to follow. in terms of NFT and cryptocurrency, now in India we do not have any kind of SOPs, we do not have any structures. So what people are facing is, if there is fraud, where to be reported, where it could be, solve those problems. But e-rupee, as we know that, being structured in India, so it would be easier for us to even, note down those frauds, even to identify them, and even to solve those frauds. So I think it would be a very easy for us to, transact if we go beyond e-rupee, and even for, taking down all the evil transaction which can happen with e-rupee. So it is a bit different from NFT, but it will be always useful in future, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. So my question has arisen because of three terms. One is the mass UID, another is facial recognition, and the gait analysis, which will be useful for policing purpose. So I'm of the opinion like if we have the facial recognition and gait samples already existing somewhere in some data bank, so it will be easier to identify the culprit. Like generally what we do is, any incident happen, we take the video of the CCTV camera, then we keep unko खंगालते रहते हैं. So my thing is, we have a already existing big data bank with the UIDI, sir, with the Aadhaar, in which biometric identification like fingerprints and some retina pattern is already existing. So my question is, can UIDI be upgraded with these two things, facial recognition as well as this gait analysis of every person when they do the registration in the UIDI? Second is, can police use this data bank whenever anything happens and any CCTV camera catches a report with the gait analysis and immediately find that this is this person with the UID data banks matching with that?
So would you want the masked UIDs to be answered first or the gait analysis to be answered first? So accordingly, I will draw the panelist. I think Dr. Shanilya can talk about
upgrading the UID data bank with
right.
these things which we are talking about, and
right.
then utilizing these data bank by the police
right.
in investigations.
So, Dr. Sufyan Batik, would you please throw some light on the questions? So what he says is that, I hope you got the question, right? Yeah, thank you.
I think very good suggestion. Very good suggestion. It is not big task, So definitely, the UIDI, whatever right now they are taking, they should include that gate. What you are saying, sir. And second, you should access. The government has given this type of permission, so that you can access that information. So, face as well as gate. Then I am very sure that 80-90%, easy at least, not big activities, I am not sure for that one, but 80% of the solution, you can find the solution by using these two technologies, and
no,
which
my
is
question,
very easy.
I just want to throw one small issue here. Like, if you want to keep the data bank of the gates of all the, you mean to say all the criminals, right?
No.
Of the general public? That's very difficult. See the population of India. Can we record the gait of each and every person and keep it? Is it?
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment on this. The Aadhaar card or the unique identity was not meant for police purposes. That is a fundamental understanding which all police officers must have. Had it been the purpose, it would have been a big failure in the first instance itself. So it is a wish list for police officers that we should have access to this, and it would remain a wish list, and we should not think that it would be given to us by any of the government and Supreme Court in between. So I think we should not go for it. And secondly, another comment regarding gate. Gate is something which is not a final system of identification, and it does not have any court sanctity or judicial sanctity. It is just a clue for the police officer
to find out or sort out certain suspects from the other. So this is my comment.
So probably it can just it can act as a corroborative evidence, not as a conclusive one. Second thing, do we really have the mechanism to correctly record the gait of all the people? I mean, that's also important. How do we record it correctly for the entire population with, so much of 1.3, 1.4 billion population for the children? So keeping the data bank of the entire population, I think it may be a little impracticable, though it looks like a utopian wish, but I don't know how far it is possible.
Hello.
Something is there?
I wanted to give the answer actually. Gait pattern also is going to be changed according to the age, and even though somebody met, also the gait pattern will be changed. Gait pattern we cannot include it in the policing purpose, and even though what we can do, also I am working on the gait patterns also. Sometimes the gait pattern is also occluded, right? So it is very difficult to detect the gait patterns. So I am working on the occluded gait patterns also. So it may be included, but it is not going to be a benchmark for the policing, because according to the age, it is also going to be changed. It may be used for the healthcare purposes to correct this angle for the elderly subjects, but it cannot be act as a benchmark. That's why the gait pattern cannot be included in the policing. Definitely the face kind of things we can take it, because whenever the face is occluded by the mask and but the eyes and other features we can take it for the recognition purpose, but we cannot take the gait pattern for the policing purpose. Thanks.
And also the video or the image has to be very clear. The gait has to be visible in that very clearly. That's another challenge, because the person has to be moving in the video or image anyway. It will be static only. You can't make out the gait from the image. It has to be necessarily a video. It has to be a good video with which you can actually make some analysis. So probably in a case where we find an accused, we can use it for corroborative evidence to to add as a support to the main evidence. That's what yes, sir.
Sir will permit me to just bring some experience from our BOPs. Facial recognition is something we are trying to work on. Our resources are very small, hence I'm not authoritatively commenting, but scope definitely is there. Like we do have access control management systems for our vital installations. We do have access control points which have to be monitored, controlled and regulated on the borders. These are the perhaps aspects where gait and facial recognition as an integrated approach can work effectively. Like we have in our aspects have had transgression from third country citizens from various points. At specifically in one particular instance, one Chinese was arrested in somewhere near Pilibhit, Lakhimpur Kheri. So during his questioning, he informed that he had crossed the open border at least 9 times. Now, if we were able to erect infrastructure and also the procedure to create, we do have database, but it is all scattered, it's not organized. If we could have a structured infrastructure coupled with the procedures, perhaps such transgressions could be effectively prevented, and we could not only prevent, we could perhaps somehow predict also. I don't know, this is just a thought, and perhaps you may like to add or counter it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Thank you, sir.
Completely agree, sir, that what my point is here, that 70, 80, 90% cases are very simple one, no? So at least we can identify. Second thing that when you are going for example, just maybe out of the country, if there is an FIR or police goes to somewhere, the first when they go, they ask not for only one people, even though it is mentioned his name. But for my personal opinion, you may go and ask maybe 5, 6, 7 people, then you collect the data. Though sometimes it is already mentioned, sometimes you already know. Even though, then you are trying to minimize, you are trying to filter out. That aspect, I think, very good if we use emotions and gait, you know. Now, of course, completely you don't have to depend on this one. Completely you don't have to act exactly whatever you information got it. Rather than some kind of cross or match, no, because it is very easily available. You don't have to, invest. That my perspective is here for the talk is.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. And also the keeping a big database on the gates can also be privacy issues actually, because we don't know what is the mechanism of storing the data. It's actually a personally identifiable data. So we don't know how the government agencies or the private agencies, how they store that on the cloud or those.
Sir.
Yes. Yes.
Sir.
Privacy, I believe, permit me, for the sake of privacy, I believe we cannot really let go.
But sir, nowadays the people are questioning everything. Even the CCTV cameras are being questioned. We had a case detected from Secunderabad railway station where one criminal involved in property offences, it was a detected case. But subsequently, somebody filed a PIL and all that. It came in the papers. They gave it all over the papers that the police used facial recognition. So sometimes the issues happen, sir. The judiciary sometimes is not so equally cooperative. So I think that's. Yes.
Sir, that will be part of the effective investigation processes, I believe, coupled with these technological inputs.
Yes, so that's what we have been discussing since morning, sir. We need some better regulations and all. So I would like to draw Dr. Shandilia for this, on this issue of masked UIDs. You were talking about policing in the metaverse, and the masked UID is one part, and also you mentioned about the checkpoints in the metaverse. So how do we do that? Where are the logs stored? How do we do the log analysis? Who is entering? Is there a firewall kind of mechanism where we see people are entering? Can we stop people from entering into metaverse?
Yeah. So I think I'll sum up with 2-3 questions here. The very first question where sir was asking about, are we equally enthusiastic for the counter AI methods also? So people, chat GPT is the buzzword now. Everybody is talking about, like, you write programs there, you can do all the methods, anything if you have used the chat GPT, you just write it and it will give you the results. But fortunately, the same OpenAI, they have also come up with the methodology of identifying the chat GPT text as well. So the counter AI is still, like, it is also growing equally. Talking about the policing case and the mask UIDs, I see this whole overall scenario in such a way that sir was talking about that how we can identify, basically his basic objective that we can find out the culprit as quickly as is possible. So as a policeman, you want to close the case as quick as possible with 100% confidence. Now there are two ways. First is, like, you need to find the black sheep, or you have all the sheep counted, right? So China is the best example. Like, there was one case, one American lost himself, and then within few minutes, the Chinese have identified him, located him in the country through the CCTV cameras. So that was not the identification of a person, because there are two counterparts, like you subtract it or you identify it. So out of this particular auditorium, if 100 people are sitting here and there is one culprit, the 1:99 is the ratio. So if the 99 you are 100% confident, one will be automatically deducted. So that is the case in the AI as well. So when we talk about counter AI, this OpenAI, as I said, ChatGPT, they have come up with a solution, with a concept, and they also come up with a concept to counter it. So you just type something, it will give you an answer, you copy paste that answer, it will give you 100% it is AI content. That's a classifier basically. So what I meant to say here is that we are in a in an edge of doing all the experiments and all that. But finally, what will happen is the humanity will persist. So what you are, human as a human, that will be counted. No matter how smart the AI would be, but human will always win that war. Like, it's a big statement, but what I meant to say is, like, for an example, quantum computers we are talking about. I'll just take one more minute. We are talking about quantum computers in a very layman language. Quantum computers are the faster computers. Let's take it that way. Okay, so they are like more than supercomputers. Now, when we talk about cybersecurity, most of the cybersecurity algorithms are based on the fundamental that how much it will take to break, how much time it will take to break. So if it is say that, okay, this is the algorithm which will take 300 years to break.
So they
this
get
is
it
the
tested,
password.
right? They
Yeah.
get it tested to the black testers and white
Yes,
testers.
so it will now, if
Black
you
hat.
raise the number of processors, if you raise the computing power, it will break through, like somehow. So that 200, 300 year will come down to 20 years, maybe 20 minutes also. So this is the, ever going war. But now people are talking about cyber immunity. Now people are talking about nature inspired cybersecurity, the concepts which are very much unique. And it is not talking about, they are not into the race of processing power or algorithms. They are in the race of a different concept by which we can identify a person. The gentleman was talking the similar thing, how more properties we can include to identify what the person is and who the person is. So this is like, as a policeman, if I may not be wrong, there will be a list of suspect and then there will be culprit.
Yes.
So we'll be narrowing it. How you are doing, that is the process. So I think that might answer.
Thank you, Dr. Shandelia. We can take maybe last couple of questions if we have, otherwise. Can we close the session? So, so that brings us to the end of the day, and I think it has been a very fruitful day. As we all admit, we are living in a technology-driven world, and let's hope that technology does good to the mankind, and we can prevent its misuse. The law enforcement agencies, they have they're duty bound to make sure that the criminals are kept at bay, they are kept in check, and probably such conferences will expose us to the solutions, and at some point of time we collaborate and we make sure that the technology is used in the right way. So thank you everybody, and thank you Parvez for giving me the opportunity for acting as a moderator in this session. Thank you.
I extend my heartiest thanks to the moderator and the speakers who has conducted wonderful round of question answer session, and also for excellent sessions. I thank to the speaker and audience also. Now I would like to request from Shri Anil Shukla sir, IPS, Additional Director General, to please come over the stage to present the books to the moderator and speakers. Please come over the stage. Thank you everyone. Tomorrow we will have session on 5G technology, vulnerabilities, regulatory aspects, and the session will be on investigating dark web, cryptocurrency, virtual assets. So please join us tomorrow by 9:30 so that we will start our session timely.